Good morning. Good morning. Okay, here we are at City Life. Feels like I haven't been here forever. It's a new year. And
not sure
I'm
I've been
Linda
here
Bown. I'm your
forever.
host. I have Hillari Wennerstrom, former school committee woman and select woman in Tewksbury. It's been forever since I've seen you.
Yes, Happy New Year.
Yes, it's once the fall hit, everything went to hell in a basket there. The holidays. How did you weather with the holidays on Wednesday? I thought that was like the worst ever.
Yeah,
No, the holidays on Wednesday.
the Midwest.
No, I couldn't. I didn't know what day it was. I haven't known. In fact, remember I texted you
I
this.
don't know what day it is now. I have to look on the screen.
I was gonna say,
I said
don't know
about
what day it is.
tomorrow. You said it's Monday, Linda. I said, oh, yeah.
I have to don't know what day it is until I get up and look at my calendar.
Yeah.
No, but I
Time to
had
go.
I had plenty of parties to go to. The nice thing about middle of the week is I went to 3 Christmas parties.
Oh my.
And when it's on like a Saturday or a Sunday, you just go to the one biggie. But I went to 3. I had a delicious time. Kiddos loved it. Santa Claus was good to everybody.
Oh yeah. Santa was. The
I
kids.
think what was hard was the Thursday after New Year's, going, getting the kids back to school and that.
Yeah.
Some went back for those 2 days and some had the remainder of the week off.
I know it was like in Merrimack they had the Monday and Tuesday before Christmas off as well. It was very confusing who had what off. I thought, but yeah, Christmas. Well, Val was sick, so he didn't feature in Christmas. But other than that, it was the holidays went well. New Year's was uneventful.
Oh, somebody said something about, New Year's being uneventful. I said, you reach an age where you're just, that's what you're hoping for. You're hoping to be home and in bed at, 10 o'clock.
Yeah. They're just not in touch with it, shall we say.
All good. I think I woke up to the sound of fireworks. Somebody always sets fireworks off in
Yes.
town, which then, sends a flurry of people sending messages out. What's that noise? My dog's afraid. This, that, the other.
Kingsborough Talks is always.
It's just give somebody their 5 minutes of their fireworks. A Happy New Year, and
They're happy.
move on.
Right. I think it's been funny watching the websites in Tingsboro because the recycling people sent that flyer out that was it's very glossy and very pretty, and then you see in the website in town saying, disregard that.
Yeah, and
It's erroneous.
It was one of those things that if you quickly glanced at it and your street happened to be right, you didn't easily pick up that there were some streets that were just listed on the wrong side of the river. I think that's what got, the angst was just, it was listed on the wrong side of the river. So somebody didn't proof it correctly, most
Right.
likely from the town.
I think that, the sign, that's where the sign in the center I thought was very helpful because it said A and B.
Yeah, how do you feel about that sign in the center? I have some mixed reviews on it.
Oh, I've come to, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. When I first saw it being erected and what it was going to be. But it's very informative. I think it's going to be very helpful.
I do like the look of the sign.
Yeah.
Meaning the structure. I'm not sure I like the electric backlit, especially, at night. But I have found both people in front of me that are stopped at the light, whether it's coming across the bridge or just coming straight down Middlesex. All of a sudden you're stopped and looked at it and your light's green and everybody else can't see the sign. Only the first,
Yeah.
car or two can, and everybody gets a little anxious. I've caught myself looking over at it when I'm in
Yeah.
that first car, so I do find that part of it with the backlit distracting when you're stopped at the light in that first car spot. But
Well, maybe there won't be so many accidents because I never, if I'm first, I never move
don't
until
inch up, yeah.
I look both because it's incredible. People
You're
fly
coming
through.
from the east side. I never also, and I'm going to take a left onto Middlesex. I try not to go all the way up to the front, which I know triggers the light, but, people that are cutting it and when,
Right.
coming to go across the bridge, somebody's trying to inevitably beat the light, and I've seen so many cars hit there that I'm just like.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen some amazing flying cars there. It's a tough spot, but I think it's been better. The traffic has been somewhat better.
Yeah, I just know when it first went up and there was, the holiday lights and everything else with that town center sign, there was a little bit of
Well, that's
angst
right.
and
Yeah.
confusion about it. And on first glance, I will say it was not my favorite addition to the town center. Like, I like the structure of it. I don't like that it's backlit, but
Well, I think, yeah, I was against it at first. I know Colin was, and I was sort of like, oh my God, what have we come to? However, I do think it wasn't as bad. I was pleasantly surprised. I didn't think it was as bad as it was going to be. I think it's very good there. I would think it'll be very informative for people knowing if there's a snow day or parking ban or whatever. It's
well,
nice.
don't we have, if I recall correctly, and it could have changed, I have not looked at the bylaws, but don't we always have an overnight parking ban in the town of Tewksbury? I know it's not enforced on any kind of
Yes.
regularity, but, I have a number of folks that I drive by their houses, and there's a house in particular in my neighborhood that's got about 4 cars lining the streets,
Yeah.
2 in front of their house and 2 kind of out, and it's like, there's nobody enforces it, but there is an overnight parking ban in Tewksbury, so you cannot have, if you have 6 cars, you got to fit them in your driveway.
It's a problem for me because I live on top of a hill.
Yes.
And particularly on Woodlawn Street, it can, trying to run up that hill in the snow,
Yes.
you can't have cars parked on the side, and then they wander out, or they, they just have no concept. But on the hills, it's really kind of dangerous. Yes, I know that we have a ban, but I don't know that they've ever enforced it. And I just don't know what's going on at the bottom of Sherbrooke Street because the ice is horrible. There's something running somewhere.
Has it gotten any better over by the golf course, the old Tingsboro golf course, and, where that goes into Coburn?
Well, so far, I think that they put it under the road,
Okay.
and so it's on our property now. I just, every time I go by there, I just shudder. Those apartments, there's nothing in the back of them. It's like it drops into a swamp. It just annoys me because, I remember from day one asking, is there going to be a 40B there? Are they going to? No, no, no. Everybody said no, no, no. And then if you as a homeowner tried to do what they did as far as the wetlands, it would shut you down in a heartbeat. And they just paid no regard. And we kind of really didn't get the support. So, of course, Trahan owns it, so what are you going to do with that?
Yeah, I mean,
What could go wrong with that?
I do remember, at the end of it, when the deal was kind of closing on everything, that the kind of soft sell to the town leadership at the time was, getting some 40Bs in there to offset the number of houses because they were age restricted. None of them in that, they couldn't do it as a part of the development. They had to do it separately.
And it was going to be veterans housing at one point, and that's what they always throw
I think they
out.
went around, I think they were in talks, I do remember they were in talks at time with, a few other, places to try to get them to come in, whether it was the Housing Authority or other affordable unit developments to go kind of take it over, and then they landed, obviously with Trahan having the money to put the building out.
Well, way back, I remember when they came before conservation, and they said, this is going to go out to bid and blah blah blah, and I remember taking a piece of paper out of my notebook and putting the name down, giving it to the engineer, and saying, "Here's your developer. Don't insult us with all this nonsense that we're going to have a worldwide search," and they just and they're expensive. They're well over 2,000.
Yeah, those, and they're remaining all rentals, correct? So the whole lot of units that are in there.
Entrance and exit is very precarious there, And as I
Are
say,
people living in there yet?
no, they had the sign up now renting.
Okay.
It looks like it's awful, the wetlands, and we'll see what happens in spring. What can I say? They're going to ignore it anyway, so, but they're doing a lot on the other side. It's nice that we're going to have bocce courts. Nobody else around has bocce courts.
But
Okay,
usually
that's
when-
exciting.
usually-
I'm all for that.
Usually when stuff like that goes in, I remember when the tennis courts went in at the elementary school and there was, no tennis courts around in that area. You didn't see, it was going to be great for the residents. Well, you didn't see a lot of residents. You saw a lot of New Hampshire cars come and they're great. And, the tennis courts are nice over there, don't get me wrong. And I think now that there's, some other schools in the area and other tennis courts have emerged, it's not as crazy. But, it used to be that, there was lines deep to get on those tennis courts when they
Yeah.
first opened. And I would say well over half were probably not Tingsboro residents.
Right. I just kind of, and then
So hopefully that's not the case with the
no,
courts.
no. The walk has turned out to be pretty good. It's not really that wide, but I think they're afraid of motorized vehicles or something. But it would be nice to be wide enough for a wheelchair.
I saw some buzz online about that. I didn't, call Colin and ask to verify that, kind of taking a step back in the past year of trying to stay fully informed about everything going on in town. But, I have seen the grumblings of that's not quite wide enough, or the entrance to get on is
Yeah.
a little precarious.
Well, sporting, but I have faith that it's going to turn out well. We'll see again, the drainage. I think it's going to end up on that property, so that could be a bit of a problem, but not over to where the courts and things are going to be. But in the middle of it might be detrimental. I don't know what they're going to do with the middle part, but anyway, it's a nice piece of property.
Nice.
So I look forward to
Hopefully
it.
they enforce the leash law over there, because they don't seem to, one of, the final things that, went through when I was on the board was the passing of a leash law. If your dog is off your property, it's supposed to be leashed. And
Right.
it's at times a little crazy at the elementary school fields. It's,
Oh, I bet.
it's, I see it every day. It's my backyard. And my, college-age daughter is home and walking one of our dogs, and, she has to time it just right so that she does not encounter, 10, 11 dogs off leash when she's trying to, just walk and walk with our dog. And it gets a little crazy. She's the 21-year-old that comes home and says, "Who do I call to say, get somebody over here?" There's, she's counted the number of dogs off leash, and she's changed direction 10 times or walked different ways to avoid people whose dogs. And some people's dogs are under voice command and they're not a problem, but there's always,
Yes.
the few whose dogs are running crazy, and not that our dog isn't friendly, but when one dog's on a leash and one dog isn't, and you just never know. They're an animal. You don't know how they're
Dogs,
gonna
you don't
respond.
know how
And
I don't care.
I automatically just always say my dogs aren't friendly, even though my dogs are
I do
friendly.
too.
I just say they're not friendly. I don't know how they're going to respond to somebody that they don't know in their face, or another animal. But beyond that too, they're not picking up after themselves.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things over there. So
That's exactly why the leash law way back was put into effect, because of the Lakeview School and the dogs. And that's back when kids used to walk to school there.
Yeah.
And there was a dog problem. In a way, I mean, most dogs are friendly, but as you say, there's that one that, or if, a dog's in heat, it changes the whole situation there. And,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden, they're not so friendly, and they're not so nice, and they are,
Well, and when
aggressive.
especially if there's 2 or 3 dogs that are off leash, walking together, they get a little bit of a herd mentality, and then there's, somebody else comes in. So it's just, I just wish we had a little more enforcement of that. And I think it only takes, one or two times for somebody to get, and I'm not even for necessarily ticketing them right away, but, a conversation to say, hey, this is not appropriate. And if you're going to walk over here, your dog has to be on a leash or, under your voice control next to you. It can't just be, 100 feet ahead of you running around wild.
Well, and it's not safe for your dog. Why would you do that? I mean, they're drinking water where all the ducks are and everything, which is not healthy for them. And there were all kinds of animals. We have bear, we have coyotes, we have things that it's just not safe for the animal. I don't know what they're thinking. I used to walk my Yorkie up at Mine Falls, and it got grabbed by a pit bull.
Wow.
So, and he kept telling me, oh, he's friendly, and I could see the hair on the back of its neck. And then we had a bit of a
Yeah.
incident later after that, because he just would not put his dog on a leash. So, anyway.
Yes. So anyway, I hope, hopefully for your sake that area stays relatively.
Yeah, we'll see with the traffic. That corner's going to be a little dicey. With the driveways coming in and out and on Coburn. It's a tough corner anyway.
Yes.
And so we'll see. We shall see. We have no control, worry about the things you can change,
Right.
particularly in this new year. And the things that you can't press on and work around it somehow. Go down Lakeview Avenue and go down Frost or something. Make believe it doesn't exist. So, but other than that, I think I'm very pleased with Colin. I think he's doing a good job. His enthusiasm is amazing.
Yeah, I think he has, having grown up, I think, in the community, he has a real heart and passion for the community and doing the right thing.
Yeah, he's as I say, I think it's a good group over there. At Town Hall. Emily is fabulous in conservation. And of course, you have someone at the DPW, which is interesting now. So we'll see how it works in the winter. I haven't talked to any of them that work there to see how it's going. I know there's some changes.
Had any conversations with the appointment of Jake?
Well, he's come before conservation on some issues, and I've been very pleased with how informed he was and organized, and he stepped up on some things that I was very pleased. There are going to be a few issues, I would think, up on Kendall when they're putting in the sidewalks to the highway. It's like the sidewalk to heaven. I don't know what they're thinking there, but don't have a lot of people walking up to the highway, and it sort of veers off there. But it's like the bike lane. They had to put the bike lanes. And then they get to Dunstable and they get killed. I mean, how can you possibly survive in Dunstable? It's around the curves. Whoops, no bike lane, no. So, but just people ought to be informed, I think, that particularly people that aren't familiar with the area, that what is at the end of that bike lane.
Yes, because it does come to a pretty
Yeah.
abrupt halt. And there's not a lot of even, give to the road,
No.
There's no side of the road there and no breakdown lane.
And what they did in Dunstable Center, that was quite a...
That, I never thought that, I thought that was going to be an ongoing project for, kind of like the Big Dig. It was going to drag out for a long, long time.
No.
I do go that way quite a bit into Pepperell, and it seemed like it was taking a really, really long time, but now that it's done, it's nice. It's just, again, it's a sidewalk to nowhere, right?
That's just what I was going to say, to the center of Dunstable. I mean,
And
all
it's
that's there is a
just-
cemetery. I guess you can
To
go
an
visit.
abrupt halt.
Yeah. Yeah,
but-
it's, that's one of the problems with the towns. But anyway, all is well. John has just come back to see what we're up to here.
with YouTube for a while, but we won.
Yeah. So, I have to commend the Board of Health. I don't know if you looked at their website. They've got a lot of things on the Board of Health. They've got questionnaires and all kinds of things.
No, I have not.
It's a good
gone
website.
on to the Board of Health. I saw they took, like we said, a little bit of a beating over the trash and recycling. People, turning around and blaming them for the mistake. And clearly, the brochure came from Republic. I mean,
Yeah.
somebody from the town probably should have proofed it a little better. Somebody who knows the streets in town and which side they were. Like I said, on first glance, I didn't pick up all the streets that were wrong, but I didn't necessarily equate which side of the river those streets were on. I mean, I think the easiest way to do would have just been to use it instead of labeling out all the streets.
Why they did that, I don't
just
know.
Go with, if you're on this side of the river, you will be this. If you're on this side of the river, you'll do that.
Right, it was a no-brainer. Why did they do that?
It must be because people don't know whether they're on the east or the west side.
Well, that's true, they don't know where the center is.
And people don't know what side of the bridge they live on, I guess. I
Well, they
don't
made
know.
it pretty easy, A and B. I mean, I can see east and west is difficult,
And I
but
could,
A and B is a sort of,
and I can appreciate that they switched it so that one side of the river is one week and one side is the other versus, because sometimes you are driving in home from somewhere and you see barrels, 2 streets out from you,
Right.
and you think, oh, I must have recycling, not really recognizing that you were
Absolutely.
not on the
I get
same
that.
cycle. So the half of the half each time was probably confusing. Although I'm not sure we've yet unconfused anyone.
well, no, they're still out in my side.
I
of the-
am. I was fortunate. I had recycling picked up 2 weeks in a row during the holidays, so that was a nice.
Yeah.
That was the nice thing. Although most wrapping paper is not recyclable.
I know. Well, that's the other thing about recycling. We need to have a Gunther back because to explain to people because people just assume things are recyclable and then,
Gunther's worked for MIT now.
God bless him. Good for him.
He's got a good gig down at MIT.
There has to be another Gunther out there that understands this
I
stuff.
think the sad fact is, nobody can tell me where the recycles really go.
Well, hasn't it? It really has changed over the course of when recycling started. So.
Oh, yeah.
So again, wrapping paper's not recyclable because of the coating that they put on it, right? And that's the thing with certain bottles, or the machines have become so much that you can't put the caps on bottles in there because if they're free, they clog the machines.
Yeah.
Or it really has just evolved so much over the years that unless you have stayed on it,
Well, and if you read the, like there are some water bottles that are not
Right.
recyclable, and I sort of say to myself, what? This doesn't even make any sense.
Didn't they come out for a period of time, either like Poland Springs or some big water company, but their bottles were not necessarily recyclable because of that plastic coating that go on the bottle.
So they need to make it easier
Yeah,
somehow, because it used to be cans and bottles, and it was kind of a no-brainer. It's hard to.
Well, it's about to me, it's all about the convenience of the manufacturer. So, like Poland Springs, why don't they put all their water in aluminum bottles that are just everything is aluminum? Simple.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to do that.
No.
but have you had water from an aluminum? Sometimes it has that odd taste. Like,
Really? You
I
never
think
had
other beverages, that
you like
taste
your
gets
diet-
masked.
Don't you like your Diet Coke in a can?
Don't
you like your beer in a can?
Coke or beer
Oh.
can drinker.
No
But I
soda?
think those things get masked. You know what I mean? Like when there's a little bit of flavoring in something, the aluminum gets masked a little bit. When it's water, like I've had water from an aluminum can, and maybe it's psychological. I always felt like it just didn't taste right.
On the cruise we just took, we had bottled water from Spain
Oh.
in
Did it taste different?
paper containers. Paper containers, cardboard containers.
How did that work?
Tasty.
Like a milk carton?
They're little square things,
It has to be something that's.
little square things, and loved it. It was great.
From Spain.
from Spain. Well, the boat just came from Europe, so they didn't have any American bottled water on the boat.
Oh,
They just had, so my sister-in-law, Judy, she loves to drink water, so she gets a case of water.
good for her.
She gets a case of water. And of course, I'm mooching off of her.
It's so
And,
good for you, water.
Yeah, so it's water from Spain, which is delicious.
Interesting, I would have thought.
You almost need a lot of water in this weather, right? Isn't this the weather that dehydrates you
Oh,
more
everything.
rapidly than the
That's right.
summertime?
You definitely should have a humidifier going in your house, all kinds of things, because it gets so dry. Not really healthy for you, so,
Speaking of dry, you guys talk about California fire?
no,
Not,
a little bit.
just briefly at
Holy
the
cow.
start with you.
And I'm listening on the place called Sky News this morning, and they're interviewing the person who's in charge of the fire. Of course, it's 3 o'clock in the morning out there, and the person says, the interviewer from England says, "So, do you need any help?" And the girl says, "No, we don't want any other firefighters coming to this state. We got this taken care of." And then she goes on to say, "It's not under control by any stretch of the
I
imagination."
was going to say it's zero, didn't they said this morning, it's 0% contained.
Yeah, so but we don't want any more help.
Kind of sums them up, doesn't it? Poor California. I used to love going to San Diego. I wouldn't dare go there now.
Well, they're beginning to realize they have a crappy government. And it's taken them a very long time to realize.
Well, we haven't realized it in Massachusetts yet. We just keep going on and on.
True.
It's a disaster.
Good point, Len.
You know, I've been up in, because I'm in Merrimack a lot, and I just can't get over the difference in gas prices between Massachusetts, and it's taxes, obviously, but it's like $3.15, and then you go up and it's $2.68.
I got 301 in Chelmsford last night.
Yeah, well,
277 in Tewksbury.
really?
Yeah.
Well, Oz.
Land
I would
box.
expect it in Oz to be 277.
That's
Seven.
when the town is subsidizing the gas
It's been like
price.
that for months, 277.
But everywhere else in Massachusetts, in
Yeah.
Kingsborough.
It's at the corner of Chandler and Main Street is I think it's called Al's Prime. And,
I was going to say, do you have to fear, because there was a period of time where you feared if the gas was too low that you weren't getting
Getting
good
water.
quality gas and it was ruining your
my
car.
car doesn't cough. None of the cars cough.
Oh, they don't cough
I
anymore.
take my Tahoe, which is it loves every gas station.
I'm sure it does. I was going to say, how do you feel about the feature on the Teslas where you can summons your car from the parking lot?
Hillary,
Would you
honest to
trust
God,
it?
that thing is my wife's Tesla drove us to New York.
So
Didn't touch
you
the-
would trust it with no driver or anybody in it, just, click of a
The
few
summon
things?
thing's pretty cool. The summon thing's pretty cool. You have to look at the car. You're under control. It isn't like the car's driving to you. You're holding down a button summon, and they tell you you must be able to see the car.
And it comes to you.
Well,
It's coming to your phone.
except for
It's coming to your phone.
people are not viewing the car, and that's the problem. Didn't it? It almost hit somebody or hit another car
Well,
in a parking lot.
I'm listening to you. I'm terrified. Market Basket is the worst parking lots in the world. People, what planet are they on when they're wandering around and they're pulling out? And
I'm just learning how to play with the summon thing, and I've only used it once. Pulled the car out of the garage, and it came right over to me. And as soon as you hit stop, as soon as you let your hand off the button, the car instantly stops.
But how does it know? It's coming to you it's in the
Onto
parking.
my phone.
It's coming to your phone in Market Basket. I'm walking across the parking lot. Does it see me? Does it know not to hit me? It just wants to go to you.
Well, I tried to summon it out of the garage with the door closed, the garage door closed. It wouldn't move.
That's interesting. But
That was pretty brave of you. What if it
It was a mistake.
Oh, okay.
I didn't say it was a good idea. It was a mistake. And no, the car didn't move.
interesting. Well, that gives me some.
They did say that you're supposed to be able to visibly have side of the car so that you can
Stop it if it's going to
stop
hit
it.
somebody.
'Cause it has, there's one or two that in the somewhere in the testing that
Well, when we
have-
put it,
have
when
hit
we put it,
things.
going to get on the boat in New York City, I just put the address in and it drove me there. Took the exits past cars.
Oh, my goodness.
I could not do that.
Well, the Dixie Chicks, my wife and my sister-in-law, didn't particularly care for the automatic driving, but it was amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not.
I gotta be in control. I don't even like cruise control. I like to, particularly with all the crazy people driving. That's the issue. I just find parking lots these days a little chaotic with people pulling out, and I don't see how it.
Yeah, I want to say if ever I was going to have, one of those like driver rage moments, I had a brief thought that I was going to go to the Christmas Village at Tuscan Village in Salem. We drove around their 500 parking lots they must have up there.
Yes.
For about 40 minutes, and you couldn't find a space, and people were walking in and out, and 10 people deep trying to get at one spot. If you saw it, everybody's racing over there. Finally, I said, I got to get out of here. I'm going to have road rage.
Well, I find Salem these days crazy.
I don't know how that development got in with,
Oh, like it was
there's
overnight.
no adequate parking.
Right. It's absolutely insane up there. In the buildings and the apartments, and of course I grew up at the racetrack up there as a kid, and it's just I don't know where I am when I drive through there because of it's not well planned. It doesn't. Who planned that? It
No
just
idea.
Well,
All I
it
know
wasn't
is there was
designed
just
to
no-
be as successful as it is. My
I guess not.
mind-blowing experiment up there was I couldn't get out of a parking lot. I parked at a restaurant to meet some friends and had my supper. When I get back to the car, it was dark, and I tried to leave the parking lot, and you ain't gonna go that way, Charlie. Can't get out of the parking lot. I mean, eventually I did.
Yeah.
But it's a real zoo up there. Poor traffic design. I hope they get an expert in there to straighten things out, make things better. Got 3 texts here. Dog owners think the rules apply to everyone except them. Very good.
I would say 99.9. There's
Yeah.
a few dog owners. I have my dog on a leash. I carry doggy bags.
But I think I don't understand. I don't understand. They don't have concern for their own dog. They don't know whether my dog is friendly or.
Moving right along, if you drink out of glass / reusable container, you won't need plastic. Very good point.
Yeah.
True, but I
And
guess
the
some
last
people-
one, California is and has been driven into the ground for decades by people like Kamala, Schiff, Newsom,
That's
and
so
the
good.
ringleader Pelosi. Hey, Nancy looked great at Carter's funeral yesterday.
Did she?
Yeah, poor girl's got a walker.
Hillary looked good when she got her award for being a
That was her double.
cook. Yeah.
Um,
Of all people.
I mean, poor President Carter. In terms of when he lies in state and DC's shut down because they've had
Snow.
record snow. My dad lives in Central Virginia. He said they haven't had snow in more than a ground covering in 3 years. They got about 8 inches of snow and about 4 inches of freezing
Somebody
rain
better
on
tell
top of
Al
it.
Gore global warming's coming to get him. Snowstorm.
And down there, they're just not equipped for that.
No.
It could be weeks before, some places are plowed out completely. I did feel bad that, poor Carter's.
He was a kind man, and he lived. I mean, a really Christian life. That was
I think his legacy was not his presidency, but his life after
Right,
his
absolutely.
presidency. And,
Yeah. He
and
was a good
certainly
person.
His commitment to his values never wavered.
I remember, because everybody said he came out of nowhere. I was at a national convention, the first charter convention in Kansas City in '74. he sat, and that's when we had, in our delegation, we had Ted Kennedy, we had Father Dryan, we had Tip O'Neill. So everybody at some point came to our delegation. He sat in our delegation the entire weekend. So somebody was whether it was Jody Powell, whoever was pulling the strings there. It was very interesting, and then all of a sudden everybody said, "Where did he come from?" So he was planning back then and organizing very well. So, but he not very effective as a president, but he was kind. This thing with Biden is embarrassing, and if he weren't such a horrible human being and leached off the country for 49 years, I'd feel sorry. But where is his family? Where are the people that really, he must have someone that cares about him. I mean, for God's sakes, Hunter, he just pardoned you. Can't you just protect him a little bit from the humiliation of not being able to complete a sentence?
How come the narrative in the Vegas Tesla bomb keeps changing? Just like the mass shooting a few years ago, we still don't know why he did it. I guess what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Good point.
Yeah, I mean, you have heard about 4 or 5 different things come out of what, actually happened or who he was or where his connections are.
Well, New Orleans hasn't
Somewhat
been.
concerning, yeah, that both he, the guy from New Orleans, and then another recent, kind of tragedy like that, they were all had a military background and came out of, military training. That somewhat concerns me that maybe we're not vetting candidates
think
for the
so?
military as we should.
Can I ask, what happened to the drones? There were drones everywhere. Everybody was so concerned. It was everywhere.
The government told the news media to stop reporting on it. I'm gonna blow through these texts because I got 2 more behind this. If Pelosi's face was any tighter, it would rip. That's Dennis Miller. Thank you, Dennis. And I got 2 more here.
That's a pretty picture.
Yeah, that's a live shot over downtown Lowell. Okay, we'll drag him up a little bit. Okay. Global warming is the biggest grift ever invented. It's been mighty cold there. Well, they got snow in Washington, you're right. And we usually don't have snow there. And I'm happy that they got it down there. And the last text I have to show you right now is, say what you want about California and Massachusetts, but they don't vote to return an insurrectionist to the White House. Well, we're gonna, guess what? He's going to the White House. Ha ha.
I did watch a recent thing about that whole, kind of movement of, why we waited on the election and where they think things went wrong and the focus. We focused on those 7 states and either they weren't polling correctly or they weren't reporting it and that, had we not just focused on those 7 states, you might have realized earlier that the path for Trump was far easier than they ever imagined because they just constantly kept,
Yes.
you in this,
Well, I think you
little
have-
bubble of what people outside were knowing, and even the people in those, quote unquote swing states, which really weren't swing states. She didn't win any of them. So they, had polling been correct, or at least had polling been out there.
Well, it isn't just polls. It's the polls. They've lost track of the polls. Who poll? Do you ever answer any of the polls?
I don't, because they normally
Well, I'd
call at an inconvenient time, and, my phone does a good job of alerting me to potential spam.
Yeah.
So I try not to answer it.
I think they just lost touch of the people. They
Well,
had,
and I often don't think, in public or to people's faces, who are you voting for? You could say what you want and walk away. Like when you get in the ballot box, it's you and the ballot. That's,
absolutely.
I think of, times that never happened to me, but times that, friends that I had that had campaigns, said, people outright said they were voting for me. They put my sign up, they did all
That's right.
this, and then they got crushed. They walked into the ballot. So clearly somebody walked into the ballot box and didn't,
Yeah.
vote for who they said they were voting for.
Well, signs
Which is fine,
don't-
that's your right, and I respect that 100%. But, so, no, I don't answer polls, because I
No,
often find them to be annoying.
yeah,
And clearly, they're not as accurate as we think they are.
obviously not. But anyway, we'll see what happens. I think it's a new day, and we'll move along, and
I'm not 100% in favor of renaming the Gulf of Mexico. I will say that was a little outrageous, that statement. I think we can keep it the Gulf of Mexico, but
well,
we'll see how things go.
I think a lot of stuff is,
I try to be open-minded and have respect for the office.
yeah, right. I think a lot of it is tongue-in-cheek, and I think we've all taken ourselves way too serious. I've said all along we should set up autograph tables for them because they believe they're press, and they really do believe there's something special. So things, let's just relax. It's going to be okay. Sun's going to come out, and the days are getting longer. The sunsets are getting later. It's all good.
Let's hope so.
It's
I
all
think
good.
the other, can't remember what day it was last week, where it was obviously quite a bit warmer, and it was so foggy when you left in the morning.
well, yes.
It was like 7 o'clock, and you still thought you were in the twilight zone.
Yeah, I coming off the top. See, at the top of the hill, it can be lovely, and then I get down to the bottom, and it's like, where am I?
I remember that Sunday pulling, going out. I go out to breakfast on Sundays with a friend, and it was like 7 o'clock, and I was, you couldn't see the end of, your car. The fog was so thick.
Well, a good thing about the cold, the puffins are back on the river, and they're adorable to watch if you can take the time to. If you're stuck in traffic, look over at the Merrimack, because at various spots you'll see them. They're white, mostly white and black, and they're divers, and they're just adorable. They're like the otters. They play, and they're fun to watch. So there's always something good.
It's mighty cold for play.
I was gonna say, I saw some, last night coming home from Westford, I saw, a flock of deer in an odd spot in Westford, and I thought, this morning as I was driving here, hope those deer, they're
They
somewhere
survived.
nestled together. There was probably about 5 or 6 of them, which was odd.
Yeah.
Although it was by some conservation land in Westford, so maybe that's hopefully where they landed, and you don't expect to see deer out wandering the streets
No,
in this time of year, usually.
no. They're
Or
under
the bear, I think.
hemlocks. They're
Yeah.
hiding out.
A number of people were posting the bear,
Oh,
Obviously, we have more than one bear. I am aware of that, but we like to think it's all the same bear wandering around town.
he goes over the
And,
bridge.
Somehow he swims across the river.
Yeah.
And they were out in full force. Hopefully, they've gone into hibernation.
Well, do they still hibernate?
I don't know. Good
Do
question.
bears still hibernate?
Yeah.
I think I think of them in the forest doing that, but I wonder if with
I don't think they're buying condos, Linda. They do.
no, but they don't have any dens anyway. We've taken them all away. That's what I'm curious about. Where would they hibernate to? In Tingsboro, one of the storage places or something. Where would they hibernate? Over, there's no place to hibernate and take a nap.
Have you seen bears?
They can just burrow in.
Yeah, we got lots of them. We have them on both sides of the river.
Then they're finding some place to spend the winter. But and if
No, they're
Well, I think they've been out recently because the weather was so mild up until, New Year's Day.
But they know
right?
where to go. They know where to go.
Oh, they know
Spend the
exactly
winter.
where all the bird feeders are. Absolutely. But I don't know. I just was curious about. I thought about that yesterday.
I never think about the bears.
Well, I did because they've been featuring And I thought, that's odd. It's January and it's cold, and aren't they supposed to be hibernating? And, but it's interesting in animals like that. Dee Dee, my friend Dee Dee, has one of those crazy dragons, and that hibernates in the winter. And sometimes it does, and sometimes it wakes up and kind of a little startling when you see this 5-foot dragon walk past you in the dining room. But anyway, some things I don't know what. If somebody could probably help me and explain why they do wake up when they shouldn't be waking up, and why they're out. I mean, it wasn't that. I mean, we had a little bit of a warm spell, a couple of days, but I mean, I would think we're.
I think overall we haven't really been cold, cold until New Year's Day, or right after
Our
that.
winters haven't been that bad. I shouldn't say that right now, but
People keep saying, "Oh, we're one day closer to spring. We're one day closer to spring." I keep thinking, we're going to get, end of January, February, and March are going to, we're going to get buried. I don't know. I have this
I do remember,
suspicion that we're not.
Oh, it's okay. April's coming. Where are the newcomers hibernating? Down at the UMass Inn Conference Center is where the newcomers are hibernating, and that's the only place I know of. Now, yesterday, girls, they were talking about the governor is going to have all the state shelters inspected. Where is the state shelter up here? This region of the state. Where's the state shelter?
would it be the conference center?
We just got that like a year ago, and that's temporary.
And I don't think a homeless vet can go to it, so it wouldn't be called a shelter. It's just for
So somebody
illegals.
some one of you Democrats who think the governor's fantastic, ask her, where's the shelter in Lowell? Did the Republican Party in Mass just lose another 2 seats in the House from 27 down to 25? I think he's talking about the State House? Or
Yes.
she's talking about the State
Yeah.
House?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know.
More shenanigans coming around?
Well, ask Greg
I had another
Pappas.
text.
Maybe he.
Well, I think I think one of the losses was due to somebody retiring. They lost a seat, but it was a seat that didn't have the Republican running again, and
Well, when are the independents going to rise up? The last text I got to show you, right? Oh, I got another one too. Once again, the disgusting media not telling the truth about Vegas, drones, spy balloons, or that Joey is fit for office. Turn off the news is no good. Interesting comment. Thank you.
Well, I think we've all come to that conclusion.
It's infotainment. It's
I
That's
I
right.
don't think anybody watches the news anymore to get information. It's or if you do, it's information that you have to filter out. You know what I mean?
Start
You
to call it propaganda.
you have to kind of dig deeper than you can't accept that what they're telling you is going to be true.
Well, like Dorian, most of them that age are streaming. They don't even get the news.
I was going to say so many people don't watch
They
local
don't,
news anymore anyway.
he's interested in the hockey games and the football games and whatever the kids are interested in. I don't think they watched it.
Last week, when Jimmy Carter died, most of my staff had to Google him to know who he was.
Oh, stop.
Yeah. I felt very old. Who's Jimmy Carter? He was the president of the United States. We went through Plains, Georgia, and got gas at his brother's gas station. It was a fun time in America.
Yeah, Billy.
We drove down there. And,
Billy's beer.
I remember
That was the big
when
scandal.
the first time we drove down there in the 80s, stopped at one of those roadside peanut to get boiled peanuts.
did you go to Plains?
Yeah, I have been to Plains. Yeah.
And I was surprised that little secret service station looked like a glorified outhouse with glass on it.
But I remember the big thing, there's all these roadside stops
Yeah.
for boiled peanuts. Boiled peanuts have to be, and I love peanuts and nuts in general. Thank God no one in my immediate family has a nut allergy.
But that's probably why they don't.
Boiled peanuts, those things have to be worse than,
Yeah.
you know.
No flavor at all.
And they're soft. They're not, I think the allure of like nuts or things is that they're
That
salty and
crunch.
crunchy.
That's why you put them in things.
But, oh yeah, boiled peanuts.
Yeah, didn't do it for you, huh?
No. I think we took one bite and then, threw the bag out the window.
Well, it's like getting the Vidalia onions, and they're rotted by the time you get them
kidding me? You
home.
littered?
I was gonna say that was, we put
We're
the
down
peanuts.
south, it doesn't
we
count.
put the peanuts out the window. We kept the bag in the car. We were feeding the wildlife.
Yes, that's right.
Back then, that was a thing. You would see people, again, not probably literally throwing them out the window, but people did. You don't see that a lot anymore.
I used to drive
People
around with this
throwing things out their car like they
great
used to.
friend,
No,
a
you're
great
right.
friend of mine would stop and would get food, and we're driving down Andover Street in Andover, and he didn't like the fish that we had just bought. Puts the window down, and he just throws the whole thing out the window. And I says, "You can't do that." He says, "That's a job for somebody. I just gave somebody a job." That was the way of the world. Littering was not, because to throw stuff out the window, that was how we did stuff when we
Right.
were kids.
Yes, but back then when we were kids,
Right.
everything was recyclable, and it just went into,
Biodegradable.
yeah. It's just banana peels and everything. I don't know. I suppose people would be horrified if you threw a banana peel out. But you're right, you're feeding something.
I mean, nowadays, some people's cars, you look at them and you're like, do you own a home? You like there's, and I have to say that about my own child. My daughter, she came home from college and she had like, her whole back seat was covered with sweatshirts and jackets and hats and gloves. And I said, that stuff can come into the house. It doesn't have to stay in your car. And she was like, well, if it's in my car, and then I go out and I need it, it's there. I'm like,
Oh, I'm with her.
Put
I
it-
do that.
put it in your closet, please.
I do that. I have something
You're
for
not-
everything, and
You're
it's
not homeless.
not a bad thing, Hillary.
It's not. It's only bad in the summer because she's a lifeguard, and,
Oh.
and so you get a few towels. In
Oh,
the
where's
back
she
there.
lifeguard?
She lifeguards for the town of Bedford, Massachusetts, at their Springsbrook Park. She's been there a couple of years. In fact, she will graduate from college in May, and she's going to come back and work one more summer for Springsbrook. They treat her very well in the town of
It's a
Bedford.
great. Was lifeguard at Walden Pond. Great summer job.
Yes, it has been. She's had a lot of great experiences there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And lifeguarding is a great skill.
Well, and everything's fine up in Vermont.
Yeah, I was there for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and they had snow.
Yeah, I saw
and
some pictures. They were
They
very
keep
lovely.
getting snow. They keep getting buried in snow.
Well, that's
so
good. They want it up there.
They need snow up there.
Yeah, I think it's.
So over the holidays, what was your favorite thing that you ate, Hillary?
My favorite thing.
Favorite thing I ate.
I will say maybe, this probably was my favorite thing. My son did a great job of he's right by one of the Cabot Cheese annex store things, and he bought all these things to do a charcuterie board. And he had all these jams and different cheeses, and I don't know, they tasted really good.
How about you, Linda?
Didn't really. Ma was sick, so we didn't get out to many
I had the
feasts.
best turkey I've had ever at my niece's house out in Chelmsford. And oh my God, over the top. The turkey was
How did she cook it?
just exquisite. I didn't ask. I just consumed. I gotta let Greg in. My phone doesn't want to answer. Hey, Greg, I'll be right there. Thanks.
I have to laugh at this post. That's.
I was
Even
gonna
the eye candy weather girls over-exaggerated their weather report. All drama, no substance.
Well,
The
they're
next-
adorable.
Next guy, he doesn't care for President Carter. Let him rest in peace, man. He did the best job he could under the circumstances. But this viewer thinks that President Carter was considered the worst president until guess who? And going back to you girls, I go.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, he was president, he was kind of caught in the middle of a lot of things and,
Yeah.
and didn't, like I said, I think his legacy is more his life after the presidency
Oh.
than it was his presidency in general. And
Didn't he do Homes for Humanity?
Habitat for Humanity, yeah. Yeah.
And he did them, I mean, he actually walked the walk.
Yeah.
That you don't see any politicians doing really. So that was very distinctive.
And they said, he remained very, true to the values he grew up with and went back to
Playing.
living, a very low-key kind of life where he was teaching Sunday school, building houses, doing the
Yeah.
things that were passionate to him.
Yeah, and so, as I say, he lived a really nice, good Christian life. I think his legacy will be a kind one.
Yes.
That no scandals.
Yeah, and no, obviously, he made money and survived, but none of this, over the top $1 million
Except that,
speeches everywhere he went and this and that.
I don't know that he
think-
made his money. He made his money from being a peanut farmer for the most part. I think he was a very
Right, but I
successful
mean, you
businessman.
see some, recent presidents, leave office and,
Oh, God.
hit the speaking circuit and they're, $1 million speeches.
You can come.
Yeah.
Greg
Come on
Pappas
in.
is here.
How are you?
Hi, how are you? So good to see you.
Good to see
Happy
you.
New Year.
Happy New Year.
You
I know, I
well?
didn't get a chance to watch your big debut on Monday on
I
Inside Lowell. I watched yesterday, but
Yeah, Ted just called me and said, could you come on? I just like, just like.
I heard there was reference to you might be, in the CIA or FBI coming out of that conversation.
I took the test years ago when I was, at one point, I took that in the Navy officer's exam, but.
They were convinced that you
Yeah.
got a double life somewhere along the way.
Well, what was interesting was when I did take the test, when the whole circuit went around, the person was like number 2 in the CIA at the time, and I didn't know it was from Lowell.
Oh, really?
And I had to meet him in Lowell.
Oh, for God's sake.
And his nephew was a state rep.
Oh.
And I walk into the place to meet him, and I don't want to say where it was, but we all know what it was. And he's sitting there behind a newspaper, and he just said, Pappas, I was talking and stuff like that. So he says, any chance you related to Representative Nick? Yeah, he says, that's my nephew. He says, good guy. He goes, no, he's not. He's a real a-hole, right? I go, what a way to start off. I didn't make a mistake that way, right? I go, okay.
Changing your whole, whoops.
Right, yeah.
Restart.
So that's why I never went in.
So that
Just know.
saved you from
Yeah,
going.
going into the CIA, yeah. That was it right there.
A
Yeah.
clue, folks.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah.
clue.
That was the clue right there. But how are you ladies? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Turn the
So
volume
somebody had asked about the rep seats. Do you know anything about?
That the Republicans lost 2 seats in the Massachusetts House.
down. I'm not sure. I'm trying to shut that. I guess I won't be able to.
The last text, we're gonna go to break. Joe Biden's legacy is the last text for this hour.
Okay.
Why it won't come up was a puzzlement to me. It's
gonna be
There
sad.
you go. So we're gonna go to break. We'll be back.
Welcome back to City Life. My name's Linda Bown. I'm your host. I have Greg Pappas
Hi, Linda.
and Hillari Wennerstrom, former selectwoman and school committee woman. And of course, Greg was in charge of elections, and he worked at the Secretary of State's office many, many years.
More than
in the
that,
bunker out
In the state rep's office and the
Yeah.
state treasurer's office. And
Yeah,
42
yeah,
years.
Yeah, we have been around.
And a few in
Yeah, I
Washington.
saw Tim Cahill yesterday in the news. I saw Tim Cahill
Oh,
has
did you? Yeah.
reemerged
Yeah.
as, he's going to be chamber president. I want to say the South Shore Chamber of Commerce, something down in that area where
Really?
he's from.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was shocked to see that. That's not a name we've seen in, 15, 20 years
Yeah,
since he
you know who
lost
worked
his
for him?
governors.
Who was his chief of staff for a short while? Laurie Trahan.
Oh, that's
I
Oh,
walked
okay.
across the street one day and there's Laurie. I go, what are you doing here? And then half of there's a lot of actually a lot of ladies, because Crane, when I worked for Crane, there were a lot of women ran the Treasury, literally ran the Treasury. And I ran into some of my friends and said, you know this girl from Lowell? Well, I knew it was Lavero, but Laurie Trahan goes, yeah, why? She goes, the boss just picked her as a, as a chief of staff. But she
Wow.
did that for a little while before she ran for Congress.
Yeah, well, there it
Yeah,
is.
I in different lives had occasion to come across, Tim Cahill and a few of the other past treasurers. Nice people.
He was a good guy.
Yeah.
He really
Yeah.
was.
I was surprised I didn't see her at Carter's lying in state yesterday. With all the big shots there, I thought I'd see Lori walking by, but I never saw her walk by.
Film clips or something, or whatever, I mean, there's 435 members of the House, 100 in the Senate.
Yeah, but I was watching on C-SPAN, and they had the camera focused
Focused
on
on there?
everybody filing by the casket. And I
Who-
didn't,
yeah, who knows?
could have missed her, but I didn't see Lori.
Yeah, who knows?
But Nancy Pelosi was there. Poor girl's got a walker,
Yep.
and all the big shots were there.
What-
Yep.
Didn't she break her hip or
But,
something? What'd she
so
break?
Joe was missing too.
Yeah,
Biden
she-
didn't go yesterday.
Oh, God.
Yeah, she broke her hip in, what was she, in the Netherlands or something, right?
Yeah.
Biden's doing the eulogy tomorrow, correct? I believe.
Oh, my.
That's the plan. Yep.
Wow.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear, oh, dear.
Yeah.
Let's hope he remembers his name.
We'll see.
We will see. It's
Yeah.
a mystery.
Yeah, amazing though. that,
Read the teleprompter. Just read the
yeah.
teleprompter.
He was, yeah. I met Jimmy Carter once, but it wasn't when he was president, but he was at an event that I was at, and when I worked for Congressman Atkins.
Yeah.
So he was surprisingly small.
Yes, he said he sat, in 74, he sat in our delegation.
Yeah, so, yeah.
And
I know
he-
what I'm talking, yeah.
Yeah, it was very nice, a gentleman.
Oh, yeah. I think he set I mean, he really did. He may not have had a successful presidency, but he definitely set the tone for what you do after being a president. I mean,
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
I mean, that's what you should do. I mean, that's what he did. It was amazing what he did to help people. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
and he's still doing it. Those groups are still together.
Yes,
That's what
Yeah.
that's what you should be doing, but
yeah.
that's what I think, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, an amazing thing. So what did I brought up the drones earlier. What were the drones?
Well, that's a good question. What I think is.
All of a sudden, we don't hear about them anymore.
Well, that's the thing, and I think what's interesting about the drones is that they, more so than they were just supposed drones, was that the media kept focusing on New Jersey, when every night they were in Los Angeles, they were in Seattle, they were in Oregon, they were in Lima, Peru, they were at 2 Air Force bases in England, they were also in Germany, they were in Argentina, every night. So, and then military kept saying, they're not ours and they're not a foreign nation, so what does that tell you? And then they also weren't sending it, well, the New Jersey State Police sent a drone up, and they said it went up, and the thing came back down, lost total power, came back down. If you go back and look at UFO stuff, John, from the 50s, what happened with almost cars were shutting off, things were flying over them, two Iranian F-14s, when they were our friends, when we had in 1972, approached a supposed drone UAP that used to be called a UFO, and just as they locked on to fire missiles when they were on it, and that was on TV, you could actually see it on Unsolved Mysteries.
Yeah.
They lost power in both jets. And the
John's
jets
letting
declined.
his car drive itself out of the garage.
Yeah.
Be careful.
So it's all crazy stuff, but the thing I found interesting also was what I told you, that story on the aircraft carrier when I was on
Yeah.
there years ago, was what the two admirals said was, if you don't bother them, they can't bother you. And I just find it funny, all the questions that they were asking about these so-called drones, why aren't you sending jets up to shoot
Yeah.
them down? Why? Because that's the policy, because that's what they are, but they won't tell you.
Yeah.
This is the same thing that happened to me 30
Well, now
30 years ago.
Trump,
we're
Trump,
not
more
covering
than
it.
once, Trump more than once has said that Joe Biden knows what they are, he just won't tell you. Two texts, Miss Pelosi also used a wheelbarrow to lug around her piles of money from insider trading on stocks. Well, Jay, it's legal to do that. Lori Trahan can do that. Insider trading is legal.
Yeah,
They all become millionaires.
I shouldn't say Congress, senators, well, senators, Congress also. They have that, that's a legal
Well,
thing for them.
Lori Trahan can do that, right?
She could if she wanted to, unless they changed the law.
I'm
yeah.
sure they do. I'm sure
Yeah.
that she does.
They all
Jimmy
become
Carter was a great
millionaires.
human being. His time on Earth should not be judged by the 4 years he spent wrecking the country. Thank you for your comments. Back to you guys.
Well, that's true. I mean,
Yeah,
in a way,
yeah.
yeah.
He wasn't,
And
yeah.
giving up the Panama Canal was a big issue. I mean, that wasn't.
Yes, it was.
Now look what we're dealing with today.
I was going to say, it's back in the news.
Yeah, China's been running it, and they're charging, what, 3-4 times the amount for every American ship that goes through, not just military. So,
We'll see what,
not surprised that's been an issue.
how
you know.
could they not see that coming? I mean, well,
Well, yeah, how can you know? You've been in this as long as me, Linda, longer. I met you years ago, you know.
yeah. so-
You know some of the people that we worked with over the years.
Yeah.
Good people, but they,
Lovely people.
yeah, they can't see everything coming,
Personally.
but
No, so, anything, what do you think of the elections, the upcoming? Are we going to have any surprises or anything interesting? What are the issues, John?
Taxes?
city elections.
And why did they hurt, because I'm going to ask Wayne Janess, why did you let the city manager herd the homeless to the South Common?
But he's never going to come in.
Well, election season's coming, and I'm encouraging everybody for every
Yeah, but
single
he doesn't
district
come.
to run. Run for somebody. I run against every incumbent that's out there. Run against, it's $25,000 a year job. And you can you can go to a meeting when you feel like, I don't know who skipped this week's city council meeting, but I saw somebody talking about it on Facebook, that somebody skips a lot of meetings. I don't know who was on vacation. But it's a $25,000 a year job. Not a lot of heavy lifting. And you run the city. You should run for the job. And we need people who are 30s, 40s to run for the job. We don't need old timers like me. If I have to, I will run. But I want to find a kiddo to do it that's a lot younger than me.
They're not interested.
No,
Yeah, they're,
25 grand.
that's not nothing to them.
I
Today.
know. No, right, that isn't.
You know,
My welfare check's higher, right?
my nephew came out of University of Lowell, thank God, or UMass Lowell, I'm sorry, it was the university when we went.
Yeah.
UMass Lowell, and within 3 years, he's making over 100 grand as a computer person,
Yeah,
and then overtime and everything. I mean, thank God for, the good programs over there.
I'm lucky I can get my son to vote, for goodness sakes, let alone run for anything.
They have to be upset about something.
Well, and they
Just the way
don't, they're not, you don't see them involved in the community any longer. I just,
Don't see anything like that. I mean,
yeah, it's, but I think it's, on some level, they've also seen, I think of my, 25 and 21, almost 22-year-old, they saw, the 15 years that I gave to public service, and at the end, we had less friends than when we started, because if somebody gets mad at you or somebody says something everywhere, I remember my son thinking he was going far away because nobody would know his last name. Well, lo and behold, he ends up in the town I grew up in. He has a different last name than when I grew up there, but, oh, you're so-and-so's, oh, that's your uncle, so your mom must be, and
Yeah.
he's like, wait a minute, what happened?
Yep.
I thought nobody knew who I was.
That's true, yeah.
His landlord, I went to, high school with his landlord. But it's just kind of funny. They don't, they see what some people go through.
Yeah.
And they say, I'm sure the same thing with Dorian,
Yeah.
when he was growing up and, his dad was being attacked for whatever reason
Yeah.
in town and, it doesn't bode
Yeah.
well with that generation
Right.
of kids,
absolutely.
The time period you're talking about, too, is 9/11 up. I mean, they saw literally from bad stuff right through all bad stuff till today, that wasn't good, so,
But today, they don't even know what 9/11 was.
No.
Kids, it's
Good
just,
point, Linda.
it's frightening.
Yeah, my daughter Jacob was alive, but Catherine was born post 9/11.
yeah, but
It just, I just wish they'd get more engaged.
So how do you feel about, I heard on the news too, the radio news, that the trial for some of the people for 9/11, and they're supposedly part of their plea deal was they have to, somehow release information about how they masterminded the plan.
Oh.
How do you feel about that? I feel like maybe we don't really want to know how it happened. Sometimes it's like sausage. You don't
Right.
really want to know how.
No.
well, yeah, I agree.
but-
Yeah, it's just that whole thing to me is, I don't know. it was basically a military attack on the United States. It should have been handled by the military, not the FBI, not the New York police, not the court systems. It should have just been totally handled by the military. Just
The
like
military was in the garages under the whole thing, and they were told to stand down.
yeah,
And I heard that from 2 different people who were in the National Guard dropping off stuff at the funeral home. And I asked, well, what happened on
right.
and that we were in the garages, ready to go, and we were told to stand
Right,
down,
yeah.
and they sent us home.
Right.
But do you think we should release everything that they say? I mean, again, who knows what they're going to say?
We're never
and
going to
whether
get the
they did.
truth, Hillary.
Well, right, that's what I mean.
That's right.
But do we want, do we want to give them that platform to say it?
No, I
don't think
agree
we
with
do.
that.
No.
Just like what you said, don't give them that platform
No.
because they
And
have. the
Trump,
rep- yeah.
yesterday on YouTube, he said that he's going to look at the whole thing and likely let them all go. Unfortunately, with the introduction to social media, most people won't run for anything. Good point.
Yeah, I think you're right. So, I'm more concerned about, I wish they'd pay attention to what's going on now. The whole thing in New Orleans, we've all been down there, the city's a wonderful city. I would be terrified to go now. There's no
gonna
way I
happen
would have gone to
anywhere,
the,
yeah.
Well, and haven't they had multiple reports of, again, the van was rented, but then when it first came out, the van, they saw the van came in illegally from somewhere and they lost track of it. Like, we don't even know where, and maybe we shouldn't know, I'm not advocating that, but, we've had 10 different stories. Where is the truth in any of it? We don't have any idea. That's the bottom line, right? We don't have any idea how that
Right.
transpired, other than maybe a moment of insanity in that person's mind, I mean, when you go crazy, you go crazy.
Yeah, well, the interesting thing I thought with the 3 people, and I say 3 people, the kid in Las Vegas, the one here in New Orleans, and the one on the golf course that tried to shoot Trump were all connected to Fort Bragg.
I had said that earlier, like,
Yeah.
that,
what's
And I don't
going
know-
on there?
I don't know why that, is there a mind control program there? Oh, that's a conspiracy. Oh, wait a minute, MK Ultra turned out to be true.
Yeah,
Everybody had called it conspiracy were chastised, but it's true.
yeah,
But what's going on? That guy had not a dime to it. He was in Afghanistan. They went to the golf course. Afghanistan for how many? On and off, on and off, on and off. Signed into Fort Bragg 72 times. Who's he seeing down there? There's so much stuff going on. And the lies are so, that's how it's always been, but it's worse now because there's a war going on. And it's been going on for a while.
yeah.
It's been going on for a while within the government.
Most recent text, for the most part, you have to be concerned and a die-hard Democrat to get elected in Massachusetts. You can't run as an independent and win. The Speaker of the House will make sure of all these facts.
Well, the thing that's interesting is over 40, what is it, when I was down there with Dukakis' first term in 77, I think we've had, till the present, more Republican governors than Democratic governors.
Yeah.
Which makes me start to think that the district's drawn incorrectly. The rep and Senate district's drawn incorrectly. You got to kind of wonder how you can elect more Republican governors, but you can't get a legislature.
Okay. And
You know, I mean, when I
who
was
sets
there-
up the districts?
Yeah,
Who
with
was
the
it?
legislature, right. When I was there, when it was 160 in the House,
Yeah.
when it first was 240, and it was 40 in the Senate, there were 29 Republicans, but they,
but who was our recent speaker that was it DeMacy that got convicted of, or was he the computers?
yeah.
That got
They-
convicted of the
it-
conspiracy
it
to
was-
redistrict and gerrymander the whole.
Oh, no, it
thing.
was, the little one.
Finneran? Not
No.
Tom?
No, Finner, no. It
In
was-
Massachusetts?
It was, yeah.
Speaker, go back.
I think it
I
was
just
right
had it-
before
I was just thinking
DeMacy,
about him.
right?
Before,
Oh, yeah.
Charlie? Baker? I mean, Charlie, no.
No.
I was there for all
He
of
was
them.
just recent.
Finneran.
That's what I said, Finneran.
Oh,
Tom
yeah.
Finneran?
Yeah.
He
Tom.
came in- Was he
Yeah.
the one that was
He's the one that
convicted of
yeah, he-
gerrymandering and rigging the whole?
Well,
And Carol Clevin was a result of
Yes,
that.
Carol
but the
Clevin
Re-
got, yes.
and the
yes,
Republicans supported that.
Yes.
I was there because
Yeah.
she was the most, yeah.
My late
But
husband worked for her, so
Yeah.
yeah, she got ousted.
Bruce
He was-
Freeman was, Bruce Freeman they liked.
Yeah.
But when she got in, she was, the Republicans didn't like her, so they let her cut Chelmsford and
Boy,
but
it's still a mess. I feel bad for people in Chelmsford because but they do have Rodney. Rodney is out there. I
Isn't
know
that
because
when Golden picked up part of did he pick up part of Chelmsford? Who picked up that part of Chelmsford?
No,
You
it
have-
was, well, it's
Well, yeah.
Rodney now, so it was,
And this Chelsea split 4 ways.
Right.
yeah.
So it's Rodney, I think, Jimmy Acero has one, I think.
Yep, and then the one out of,
Concord.
was it Corey Atkins or
Corey had
somebody
it, but she's
got-
not
yeah.
there anymore.
Yeah.
That rep, and then there's the one out of Pepperell, I think.
Yes,
Yeah.
yep.
So Rodney took over, is it Murphy's?
I just remember when she got,
Yeah,
ousted,
yeah.
that,
was
whoever
years
was
ago.
in Lowell that picked up,
Right.
whoever had that seat at the time in Lowell that picked up, Rodney's seat,
Right.
picked up that spot.
Right.
Yeah.
That was a big split.
And
right?
they kept saying, it wasn't me, I didn't have anything to do with it.
And the thing is, the redistricting I've seen, it's every 10 years, so I saw 4 of them,
Yeah,
redistrictings.
A good point from.
And basically what they do is they start, the speaker draws his district first, then everything has to fall in line. The Senate
Yeah.
president draws his or her district first, and then everything goes, it's not how you're supposed to do it.
no.
Good point
because-
from, good point from the audience this morning. Our government, I don't care, federal, local, state, will continue to lie to the people. There's no law against lying.
Well, it's not the only thing. If the
Ask-
media's
you can
gonna
ask
let them,
any-
John.
Ask any court, who went to jail for lying in court?
Right.
Over the last 10 years, can you?
Oh,
Let's
God,
give you 10
look.
years. Name one person that went to jail for lying.
The FBI put how many people in jail for lying, perjury? They put, what's his name? There was like 4 or 5 people they put
The
in for lying.
FBI is the
But you're just saying who went to jail, yeah.
terribly corrupt.
But well, it was from the start. You go back to 1905 when they formed it, and then you get Hoover for how many years? You know,
Yeah.
I mean, God, I mean, Hoover hated. He fired every gay person that he thought was an agent. That he fired every one of them, but he was.
Yeah,
But he would not let gay people serve in the FBI, but he was. It's just like bizarre.
It
But to
is.
go back to the Lion, John, if you're going to have the media not press them and do
The
their
media
job.
lies.
But I know now they do. But I mean, years ago, like when I was there, like I mean, I was there for 4. I'm saying, anytime back in the last 4, if you said something to a Lowell Sun or a Herald reporter, and you started lying on the guy, would tell you, go, you tell me the truth, or you're going to be on the front page tomorrow.
Howie, yeah.
I'm going to have you playing. No, not Howie. Other people. I'm going to have you playing with a little kid somewhere on the front page of paper. Now tell me what happened. That's what they used to do to them. Today they won't even. Oh yeah. Oh, that's. It doesn't even make any sense. They go, sure. Let me. Can you spell that word, please? You know, it's disgusting.
It
It's
is.
I was
despicable.
gonna say, they don't even
The problem
run
with the
spell
government,
checks.
comment from the audience, the problem with the government is it doesn't get better, only bigger.
That's true too.
And you guys were talking about the drones a little while ago, okay? Now,
They let us say drones, and then they're not drones. But
well, Trump said the president knows what it is.
Yeah.
He just won't tell you.
of course.
And the FCC or some big shot, federal government must have told the media, stop covering it. Don't cover it anymore. And bingo, that's where it went away.
But they weren't even covering it in the first place, John. Like I said, they kept saying New Jersey, New Jersey, New Jersey. There were over 20 other cities around the world at the same time.
I have a drone,
Yeah.
and
I got a sister-in-law in
what-
Los Angeles was watching them one night.
I took the drone down to Bown National Cemetery, take a picture of all the wreaths on the,
Yeah. Was it the size of a pickup truck?
oh no.
Oh, well, that's
in
what
your
these
hand.
things are.
It's
Yeah,
small,
okay.
it's small.
Well,
But
that's what
anyway,
these things are.
But my point is that I couldn't take off. It wouldn't let me take off. Couldn't take,
They
because
restrict-
I'm close to the airbase.
Right.
I tried to take off, and it was just
Right.
to get nice aerial shots of the cemetery.
The electronic thing shuts it, right.
Couldn't take
The
off.
airbase cuts, yeah, they can do that, but why can't they do it with days? Because,
But the
why
best
don't they
ru-
send
the best
fighter
rumor
pilots
I-
up?
The best rumor I heard from a New Jersey undertaker was there's missing nuclear fuel,
Right,
and they're
okay,
trying to find it with these drones.
okay. Well,
That's the best theory I heard.
that's a great theory, but here's the problem with that. Again, why is it all over the world? The second point is, if Cliff was here, he'd tell you, we have the Air Force, I've seen them before when I worked with Chester. They're called nuke sniffers. They fly all over they fly over Lowell sometimes. They cover an area of about 100 miles in every direction. Why would you need 35 drones? That's really not advanced technology. If you need 35 drones over 1 square mile area, when a jet that's from 1970 can cover an area 100 miles, it's not true. That's not even close. They just gave him an excuse that sounds good because of something that supposedly got out of
I'm going to do the announcements.
Yeah.
Takes about 3 minutes. If you want to announce on City Life, easy thing to do, just send me a text. Email me. Email's not so good, but send me a text, call me, and we'll get that out there. Coming up on January 25th, the 17th annual Keefe Family Polar Plunge. A lot of people are interested in this polar plunge. This is the website. So take your phone over to the TV set, take a
no.
picture of this. It's the KeithFamilyPolarPlunge.org, and you can get some more information there.
Is that the
Moving
one-
right
one
along
more?
here, this is important
No.
to everybody who lives in South Lowell and Tewksbury. They're gonna shut off your power overnight. So, January 14th, National Grid is gonna upgrade, whatever excuse they have, but at any rate, the people who provide the power are gonna shut it off on January 14th for 6 hours, from 9 PM until 10 PM. So if you want the news, you better get
5 a.m.
5 AM, yeah, overnight.
Oh, my Lord.
So make sure you
Let's hope
snuggle
it's
up
not
that
cold.
Find somebody to snuggle up with that night if you're living in Tewksbury or South Lowell. It's gonna be a chilly one. It's coming January 14th, and if I hear of anything else, I'll let you know.
Was that because of the drones that they spotted over that area?
Something must be worn out, I don't know, it's just, I don't know what the
Drones.
deal is, but
The
January
UFOs.
14th. Okay, so, the Bridge Club is having a great, event with the Bruins against the Lowell Police, playing
went there
hockey,
last year.
January 19th, 1 o'clock, the Songus Arena. It's $20 a ticket, it's a fundraiser. They give you a discount if you buy 4 tickets or more. So, be in touch with the Bridge Club, go on their website, and you can also get tickets, as it says right here, at thesonguscenter.com.
I went last year. It was a good event.
That's what I heard. Everybody that went there had a good time, huh?
These are all the places, if you need food, you're hungry, or you know somebody who needs some food, these are all the food places that are available in the area. I think they're all in Lowell. I haven't really checked all the address, but I think they're all in Lowell.
They are.
So take your phone over to the TV set, take a picture of this, and these people, if you need help, these people will help you out. Moving right along here. Free bus ride. If you see the bus going down the street, wave at it. It'll pull you over, it'll pull over and pick you up for free.
That's
a nice
almost
bus
a
ride.
year. Free
Best bus
busing
ride
for
for
a year,
free.
wow.
Now, today is January 8th. The Lowell Senior Center has lunch 7 days a week.
Wow, chicken palm. That's pretty good.
7 days a week. Today, we got chicken palm. And Greg, are you over 60?
Let me tell you. Well, my what?
You over 60?
60.
Barely.
I'm 66.
So, see, you
Yeah.
can go to any senior center in the United States of America.
They have good food. The senior center does. They
But
got good
here's-
people down there working on that stuff. Yeah.
So what you're going to do, Greg, today
Yeah.
around 10:30, go over there with $2.
Yeah.
Give it to Tara. She's the gal at the door.
Yeah, Tara. I know Tara. Yeah, she helped us with the elections. Yeah.
And Tara will give you a ticket, and
Yeah.
at 11 o'clock, the feed bag comes out.
There you go.
You could be walking out there at 11:30, but 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Good service to the community. So everybody who's living in Tewksbury or Drake, wherever you're living, if Saturday you feel a little hungry, you got this Saturday they're going to have hot dogs, and then Sunday they're going to have pepper chicken with rice. So
Wow, that's better than a restaurant.
$2. Bring the bride there, show off. Okay, this is mill number 5. The mill number 5 people got kicked out of mill number 5,
Uh-huh.
for the lack of a better way to put it. And they're moving over to, I think it
Lack of
was
a better way to put it.
St.
That's good,
Louis?
John.
No, that wasn't St. Louis. St. Jean the Baptist, former St. Jean the Baptist Church. They're moving over there. They have a GoFundMe page. So they're looking for some help. So consider helping them out. Take your fancy phone and take a walk over and take a picture of this screen here and try to help these guys and gals out there. Going to move, the whole organization's moving over to the former St. Jean the Baptist Church on Merrimack Street. And Golden Gloves. Keith Rudy sent me. Keith Rudy was supposed to come today. He'll come next week.
Get well, Keith.
Didn't feel tip-top, so rather than spread it, thank you, Keith, for doing this. The Golden Gloves. It's a Lowell winter tradition. Every year they do this. So beginning January 9th, that's
That's this
tomorrow.
Thursday?
Doors open at 6 down at the Lowell Memorial Auditorium. If you take your phone over here, take a picture, zero into this QR code, give you a lot more information on this. So Keith, thanks for sending us this way. And it starts tomorrow, and it goes through March 6th. A great event, a lot of fun to be happening there now.
Oh, there we are.
We're going to go over to a couple of things that got sent to me.
NASA.
This is
Oh, my.
President Carter's casket. And,
Oh, my.
For my Undertaker buddies out there that watch the show, I got this from my friend down South Beach in McDougall. He's a retired funeral director from South
That's very
Carolina.
sleek.
And this casket it's called a Lincoln something. And under the, it's made by Mastercraft Caskets. I don't know what Mastercraft is, but it's made in the United States. It's a Lincoln walnut, and
So you
that's
didn't
all I
go, hey, John, you didn't go into presidential then, huh? You know, the presidential casket? You know, my wife used to do that stuff, right? There was always the presidential. It was
Well,
like
this
11
one-
grand. Figures he would
but-
go into a more modest one,
well,
right?
the Kennedys used to pick the Marcellus 710, but
Right,
Marcellus went out of business.
right.
So
right.
then they had to scramble. So now Batesville provides, but this
Batesville,
is a
right.
different company. This is
Right,
not a
but-
Batesville.
Yeah.
So this is
But it
now,
would makes sense that he would get something more modest, you know?
Roslyn
would,
went in the
definitely.
exact
Yeah.
same casket, and this casket was in a museum.
Yeah, there
This
you
will
go.
be President Carter's
Yeah,
casket. It was in a museum. They,
I mean, look at this compared to that guy George Floyd in New York. He went in the bronze casket. Remember that bronze thing?
Yeah.
Took 8 guys to pick it up. What are they? $24,000. Be buried one honors after you stuck a gun in a woman's mouth the month before.
so yesterday,
What a joke!
looking at Carter's funeral, walking up all those stairs, it was amazing to watch those guys pick the casket up and carry up all the stairs, and amazing job that they did yesterday. I got a bunch of pictures from Jessica. There's this guy, and this happened in Lovely Low yesterday.
Oh, wow!
I did see that on social media.
What is that?
This is a sinkhole
The
Oh,
truck
believe it's
drain.
on-
Where is that?
up in Belvedere. I think
In
it's
Belvedere?
in on Hazel Street, and the poor guy's just going down the street, just doing his job.
Wow.
He's gotta be next to the curb, and bam, he sunk into the. I got more pictures of this here.
Looks like
Close this
what kind of
guy.
truck is that? Looks like an outhouse truck.
I was going to say, they
I
look
was
like
just-
outhouses to me.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not to make fun of him, but
So he's stuck pretty good. They shut the street down, and this went through last night. We got more pictures, yeah.
Yeah, get out of
I'll
that.
Go backwards and forwards.
I get away from
Here's a
that.
good
That could be.
picture of the truck.
Oh, it's a
Oh.
refuse.
Oh, it is a
Dumpsters, yeah.
garbage truck.
Waste
Yeah.
He went
management.
right in the a sinkhole. Poor guy.
Wow.
He was on his way to Tingsboro.
Yeah. It's
Could
George,
have been.
George Landfill, right?
Going back to Carter's funeral, I took this shot. They always have a backup hearse.
Just in
So
case.
Here they have, this is the hearse carrying the casket, and this was the backup hearse.
Oh,
So they always have a backup hearse,
why is that?
In case it
in
doesn't
case
start.
this one breaks.
Breaks down. Look, when my wife did Senator Kennedy's funeral, they had one for that too, just in case the car wouldn't start. They
No
had one
kid-
following the
Yep,
thing and
because
bought, yeah.
You
Wow.
can't replicate it.
So it's not,
Yeah.
it's not like, you know, the presidential motorcade where you don't know which one he's in.
So that's
It's
all
not
my
that-
news for
No.
today.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey,
No, it's
you
just.
guys.
Nothing you can
yeah,
do to him.
It's in case something fails, they can take the casket out and put in the other one. And it's funny because things like that can happen. I mean, she had John knows this business. I mean, she was up in Maine and they had a car slam into the back of her hearse. They were taking a person back to Maine and they couldn't get the door open when they got to the cemetery.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, and they had all kinds of issues. But you gotta always think that
Yeah.
these guys have to plan for everything, you know? It's
I did
crazy.
see a motorcade going down Route 3 the other day. You don't often see them
Yeah.
get on the highway.
I must have been on the road at the same time.
It was-
I said,
yeah.
what is going on?
Yeah, I can't remember now where I was headed, but I was headed down, I was headed south and the motorcade was coming
I
north.
think that was.
That's right, I was
think that
behind
was
it.
Pierre Trudeau heading for Chile or Venezuela or something. I'm not sure.
The airport in Manchester.
Yeah, there you go.
It's just, it was odd. I didn't
Yeah.
recognize, I was like, what are all these cars in
Got
the,
off at exit
in the slow lane.
5.
yeah, what are all these cars in the slow lane going in?
Another
Yes.
comment from the audience. The reason people vote for a Republican governor is because they believe that it gives them a 50-50 government here in Massachusetts, which couldn't be farther from the truth. The governor is controlled by the speaker, whether they're a Republican or Democrat. I don't understand why the unenrolled people just don't stand up and run. I don't have any.
Speaking
Well,
of
the thing
Republican
that's
governor-
interesting, the thing that's, oh, I'm sorry,
Oh,
Hillary.
no, I was just going to say, speaking of Republican governors, they did say Charlie Baker may run against
Yeah, Senator Warren, I mean,
the
Ed
Senator
Markey.
Markey.
Yep.
That would be an interesting, I know
Wow, that would be an
big
interesting.
fans
Yeah.
of Baker.
It's
Yeah,
Marky.
yeah.
How long is he going to go? Holy.
He was in the State House, he was in, when I first got there in '77, he had just got thrown out of the State House by McGee.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I
he
love
was in the
Tommy
hallway,
McGee.
yeah. He was the best. But John, to go back to that issue, that thing with the 50-50 thing with the Republican governors being controlled, Bill Weld got close to Bulger and really got everything he wanted because he played Bulger and they played Bulger and Weld played off on the speaker. So it works the other way too. They're not all controlled. Trust me.
No.
They can play that game also, and I've seen it done. Weld did it. Salucci did it. The speaker had no say in a lot of things those couple of years. And the Senate president got everything he wanted.
Well, this
So
came up,
it-
the
it-
first
yeah.
hour, this came up about the shelters.
Yeah.
The governor's bragging she's gonna have all the shelters inspected, and I'm sure some free lawyer organization is gonna sue her to keep the rights of the homeless, whether they're in a shelter or not. You can't look in my bag. So I'm sure that skirmish is gonna start. Where is the state shelter up here?
Where's the what?
State shelter?
Let's see. Did they use Tewksbury State Hospital? No. No. I mean, the only one I know of.
The only shelter for a
Who
conference.
knows what she's done now?
I mean, everybody's telling me it's UMass in a conference center. No, that's just for the migrants.
That's for the illegals, yeah.
So.
Not
if-
migrants.
Oh, I don't
Call
think
it illegals, whatever you want to
Yeah.
call it. They're holding them there until Trump's in office. They're going to put them back on a plane and send them home, I guess. I doubt it.
What's going to save them a lot of money? I think they got to look at those contracts too. Diana DeZoglio's, I love that.
Oh, yeah, that's-
She wants to see, you got a $70 million contract to feed these people. We don't even know if you're feeding them. We don't even know who the company is if they go in and actually
We
feed them.
hired your brother to do this.
well, Diana's
You wanna
good.
get
I
your
like
brother
I
in trouble?
think she's doing a fine job.
Yeah, Diana I saw her when she was school committee woman, and I knew right away, this kid's gonna be something, and she.
Yeah.
But that's the stuff she questioned, and she's right about that. I mean, think about it. Those are big contracts, and nobody's even seeing how many are they feeding in there.
And it's going to be hard for them to not deal with that. It's some
Right.
things that you look at face
Right.
value. It's like this suit against Chick-fil-A because they're not open on Sunday. That's such a non-starter.
Yeah, of course it
It's-
is.
but why would
Yeah.
you even?
Right.
It's a religious thing. They can't make them stay open on Sundays.
Right, it's
Silly.
craziness.
But I think she's done, and she's certainly got the public. I think there's a pulse out there that the people are sick of it.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
she's riding that wave, and
Right.
I wish her luck. You
Yep.
know.
I tell you, I mean, all the years, nobody ever knew who the auditor was.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
I mean, DiNucci was more so because he
gonna
was
say
a
DiNucci
He
Golden
was
Glove.
he was a Golden Glove
Yeah,
guy.
he was a Golden Glove
boxer.
guy, he was a court
A
officer.
nice guy, and
yeah.
everybody liked him.
When
Joe
I
was-
called Galvin's office, back this race for Register of Deeds, I called down to Galvin's office
Mm-hmm.
because he's the head honcho of all the Register of Deeds in Massachusetts.
Right,
Tell him I run this little TV show and I want to know what are some good questions to ask these candidates. So, well, call Dick Howe. He'll tell you. No, I'm not going to call Dick Howe because one of them works for Dick Howe, and I just don't want to mix any local people with. Give me some good. I want to know some issues. So they bounce me around. The fourth person I get on the phone,
Michelle?
she was the media person.
Oh, I know who it is, Debbie, yeah.
So she says to me, "Sir, that's an elected office." I said, okay, there are no duties. They can do whatever they want. They can do whatever they want. There are no duties. There are no guidelines. They're an elected official, and they can handle that office any way they want. I said, so they don't ever have to go into work? She said, if they choose not to, I guess not.
Well, it's kind of, Karen won't do that, I think she's
I know
gonna
that
put a no, so,
Karen,
but,
Karen will go to work.
but you, I know
but
you,
to
I
have
know
a
what you're
state
getting at.
official tell me,
I know what you're getting at, yeah.
you don't have to go to work. And so that's why you never heard from the auditor before.
No, the auditors, no, I knew them from being down there, but
Did
it
they
was
do
very
anything?
unpopular office, like
Did
people
they
didn't-
do anything? I'm the auditor. Well, how often do you go to work? Now, when I found out.
Joe DiNucci, I was.
Oh, they
I
had
lived in
statutory
it.
duties, the auditor do, yeah.
Joe DiNucci
Yeah,
was in his
yeah.
office.
Oh, they do.
9 times out of
What
10.
are they?
The auditors, well, certain times of the year, there's certain agencies that have to be audited. There's different
Do you think they
divisions.
ever go into, do they have to go to work?
You're talking about the auditor himself?
Yeah.
Well, no, when you're an elected official, you're 24/7 anyway, so it does, I mean,
You're on
that's
duty,
why
you
I always
don't
said,
have
when
to
I
go
worked
anywhere.
working for elected officials, I wasn't done at 5 o'clock. I went to work 42 years down there, I really worked 65.
I was listening to Washington radio yesterday.
Yeah, yeah.
And there are still many buildings that
Yeah.
are heated, lit, that are completely empty because
No, yeah,
federal employees don't go to work.
There's so much you can do with DC, I mean,
Oh, of course.
I mean, I go back to President Lincoln, John, right? He was assassinated. There was, just like Washington, there was a Secretary of State, Secretary of War, the Treasurer, and the Attorney General. Right after he was assassinated, people paid no attention. Two things happened. The IRS was created in 1865 and started taxing businesses, and then they added 4 or 5 more cabinet posts. It was a federal takeover. And if you look at the federal government, half of the agencies are repeated in the state. The Department of Education, Revenue. There's so many things that are repeated on the state level that it's power grabs. And then you go to I could tell you so many things about the duplication of stuff that the states can do better.
Not a lot of heavy lifting down there.
No.
And the comment from the audience, I'll bet the shelter is not where the governor resides.
Yeah, right.
Of course not.
And Washington DC wasn't supposed to have residents, a mayor or anything. It was supposed to be a federal district, period. No residents, no nothing, the government, that's it. No city hall, no nothing, that's all it was supposed to be. They took that and they changed that too. No US senators, no congressmen, that's why they keep fighting for one, they're not supposed to have one, not even
Yeah.
supposed to live there,
No.
you know?
And,
But,
and the departments, they just keep adding another letter to it.
right.
I remember it
right,
was DCA.
right. I mean, there's agencies within some of these agencies, I mean, it's crazy, the overseas military bases we have, you wouldn't believe how many you have.
So Greg,
think
what
it's
is it
over
going to
800.
take to get people to run for city council, school committee, selectmen? How many signatures do you need? I mean, your former career, you were in charge of the election
Well, in
officer role, so
City
you know a
Hall,
lot about
it's
this.
50
City
50
council?
signatures.
50
signatures, yeah. But
So you got to go to Demos's, go inside, talk to the
50,
manager,
you
hey,
can-
can I
you
stand
can
up
knock-
front, get signatures?
you can knock on a door and get 50, it's not that high.
It's easier at Demos's.
Yeah. You
There's
know,
no dogs, you can't get bit.
they got to
You
straighten
just
that
get
out.
the right family and you got 50.
Yeah, but you gotta-
Like
yeah.
gathering and you got 50.
Right. But the
50
district people, like I said, should be just getting them in the districts and not in citywide. That's why I told people that were getting outside the districts, this is if something comes in and challenges it, you're going to get knocked, you could get knocked off the ballot, so you should be getting them in the districts.
So it's true then, they have to live in the district to sign?
Well, you should, you.
No,
No, you have to live in the
should.
district, yeah.
No, it's must. They
Yeah.
must live in the district.
Oh, yeah.
So if citywide, any Tom, Dick, and Mary who votes in Lowell can sign.
Yeah,
But if, for District 1,
you have to live in the
those 50
district.
signatures have to live in District 1.
Well, that's what they're supposed to do. I told the
No,
city
they
council.
can't do supposed to.
But they said that they allowed it the last time not to do that. They're gonna let them get them citywide. But I told them, I said, no, then you should be doing this.
There are a lot of things they did there that they haven't been doing.
So how did they get to decide that? Was it the court case that gave them? Because, most other elections, they have to be from the jurisdiction that you're getting
Yeah,
elected.
right, rep, senator, congressman, yeah, that's what I'm saying,
What gave them the power not to?
They already did it that way the year before I got there, in the first one. And I told them, I says, no, we gotta change this can't be done this way. Because here's the problem, like I said, if you were getting them, Hillary,
Right.
and you got only 30 in your district, but you got 70 outside, but enough to put you on the ballot, and somebody comes in and some smart kid turns around and says, I got all 50, I'm gonna challenge her in court, you know what the judge would do? Probably tell her, she's off, she's on. There's no question on that will happen.
Yep.
There's no
So
question.
I don't understand why they think just because you.
Because the
just 'cause
first time.
you did it wrong once doesn't entitle you to do it wrong the rest of your life.
Well, I think what it was is that there was no guidance or direction.
It was
and this-
ambiguous.
It happens in a lot of cities around the Commonwealth. You wouldn't believe how many laws get broken without knowing. Elections are so complicated. There's just so many laws that books like this thick now. And I'm not a lawyer, but I was there for all of them, so I know it, but that's what I'm trying to get out of my head. But
Yeah.
the point is, it's so complicated, you can't make this stuff up to the point where I know some clerks that said, screw the law, I'm just doing it this way, I can't do it that way, I don't have enough time, I don't have enough staff.
So
And
that's
what
true.
happens.
So looking at the map, if, whatever part of Lowell you live in, we want you to run for city council, we want you to run for school committee. School committee only makes 12 grand a year.
They
$1,000
double, that's another thing, think about that. It's the lower office, but it has double districts.
Well, I think
Right.
all it would take is one school committee member to tell the mayor at a meeting, I make a motion that you bring this to the city council, that we should have the same pay as them. And it would pass.
Well, the thing really is with the school committee, I mean, and Hillary can tell you, I mean, maybe she won't, I mean, it's up to you, Hillary. But the reality is, it's not the mayor, it's not the school committee, it's the problem is the superintendents. And
Yeah.
that's been like that for years. I mean,
And Desi.
when I started years ago, a superintendent ran the school business. teachers ran the classroom.
Well, my little story, Greg,
superintendent law.
respectfully, is the mothers are in charge.
I mean,
The reason nobody stays back is because your mother wouldn't let you stay back.
And that's what the teachers ran the classroom. If a principal came in, it was some issue, but not the policy of the classroom was run by the teacher. Superintendent ran the business, not setting policy. And they didn't make more than the governor of Massachusetts. They all do, which is ridiculous. I'm sorry.
No, look, they're all getting, and
It's just not right.
how much do you think they're gonna pay Tom Golden's replacement?
Say that again?
300 grand? Do you think they'll pay the next city manager 300
Only
grand?
if you take the manager spot.
I can do it, but I'm not too well politically. They're telling me Vanna Howard's gonna get the job.
Well,
Yeah.
all you have to do is count the number of votes you have to have.
Yeah.
Vanna Howard, and they'll give her a 15-year contract. She'll work for 3 and take a walk. And Golden's coming up on his third,
Does she
so.
have 6 votes? That's what it takes.
She wouldn't be able to do that job.
Oh, no.
Neither can Tommy. So,
Well, I mean,
we're living.
The other end of it is if you go to the quote-unquote professional ones, and we've had those too, you really, it doesn't work out too good that way
No.
either.
I
It's
was gonna
human
say,
beings.
the professional manager that you guys had, nobody liked him either.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
He did his job and
Yeah.
nobody.
So basically, what the reality is I hate this, and I used to say it when Dennis Peendak became our first town man, well, he was the second one in Drake it. I remember I was at a Christmas party, and when I first met him, I stuck my hand out, I said, congratulations, Mr. Meister Burger. I guess that's what you are, from the cartoon. He goes, you're the governor of Drake it, the selectmen no longer, who are elected officials, have no more power. We
Dennis
took the
was-
power from the elected official, from the elected school
I would
committee
go
member.
out to town hall. Yesterday, we always had to go to town hall to get permits when somebody died. So
Yep.
that's how I got to know all the town halls around here. And Peendak was great. He'd come out, walk down the hallway,
just a nice
say
guy.
hello to everybody.
He was always a nice guy,
Kiss the
yeah.
babies.
nice.
He was a fantastic man.
Dennis is a very
Yeah,
nice
Nice,
Dennis
guy.
nice
was a great
guy.
guy.
Easy
But
to talk to.
I called him the Meister Burger.
Well, those are the days when you had a manager for a long time.
But what we did was when we went to that, the selectmen had no more power, and the school committee. I mean,
Yeah.
they're elected and they don't have the authority anymore. School committee, you call it like even a Drake and nothing against it today. If a selectman calls the highway department, say, hey, there's a big hole down. Can you guys get down there and fix it? Call the town manager. You can't call us. It's
Yeah.
illegal. Are you kidding me? I mean, I'm not blaming the guys in the highway
No,
department.
No, but there's a way of doing it.
That's how it
And-
works in Lowell. If you don't know a city council, you can't get nothing done.
Yeah, but you still got to go to the manager is what I'm saying.
Well,
They-
what
they
happened
can't- yeah.
that yesterday with the truck getting stuck in the sinkhole up in Belvedere?
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess you call the street, and, well, we don't care, what do we want us to do? Somebody called the city council, they called to Rita Mercy or Eric Gitchia,
Yeah.
and he got the fire going.
Yeah, but I'm just saying they still contact Tom, but to go through the manager. And the towns, it's kind of different. Towns are a
As
little bit
John
more
or Jane
dictatorial.
as John or Jane Q. Public calls the city manager, it falls on deaf ears.
You can't
When
call-
Rita
well, you
Mercia
can't call the
calls-
town managers
When
either.
Rita Mercia
Oh,
calls.
we can.
Or
Yeah.
Tony Archinsky
Yeah.
calls the manager,
You have a cute one.
they take the call, and they act on it.
Well, I'm just saying overall, the reality is they still don't have,
Until Eric Gitchia makes the phone call, nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Saying,
So-
it's whatever, you gotta know a city council to get something done.
and on that note, from a city employee, one of your biggest fans who watches the show every day, I have to say happy fake Thursday to Brenda.
Okay. Brenda, happy Thursday.
She fake Thursday.
Fake Thursday. What
Today's-
does that mean?
That means because they work so late on Tuesday night, when you come in Wednesday morning, you think it's Thursday. She told me that one day. She goes, I said, why does it feel like Thursday? She goes, I call it fake Thursday. Because you're there for 10 hours that day, sometimes 12. You know?
Well, the thing
and-
and I'm gonna, on a
Exactly.
nice day, I'm gonna take my drone and fly over City Hall at 5 minutes of 12 on Friday
Yeah.
and watch the fire drill
Oh,
at noontime.
oh yeah, it's just great. Yeah, you can't wait to get out after that week.
Wow.
And like I said, to
Oh,
me, that was,
anybody, yeah.
it was a long time that I actually got to work for structured hours. I mean, I used to have to go to some place with somebody after, so,
Yeah.
So that was great. It was, to
Well,
me,
he's
it was-
right about the city hall closing, because I had to bring it, they had
Oh,
But I had to
Tingsboro's
paint it.
just as bad. Tingsboro's closed all day Friday, aren't they?
yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
And how do we know that? You go down there and shake the door.
No, it's on the website and everything.
Oh, it's where?
On Kingsborough website.
Oh, I'll go look.
Yeah.
Closed Fridays, is it prevalent? I'll go look.
There you go.
Well,
Everything's on the website, you just gotta know how to look.
just gotta know where to find it.
It's improved. I used to not be able to find anything on the website. I have to,
Yeah, the website's gone under a few iterations in the
Yeah,
past few
it's-
years.
I'm waiting for them to come out and change the law, which they're never going to do, John, right? The public notices that are going to newspapers now should just go on the website. You know what would have you laugh, because you know what would happen. How many thousands of dollars would we keep in one paper in business?
Yeah.
They'd have to shut down
Yeah,
tomorrow.
there was-
That's
yeah,
right.
there-
And then
yeah.
the website covers more than the papers do.
absolutely, who
know?
goes to, nobody.
No,
I-
but you're not going to get the legislature to change that law.
We can
Now,
laugh,
John,
laugh about the Lowell Sun all we want, but when they go out of business, politicians will just rob us blind.
Yeah,
I hear what you're saying, but the point is, we need to have reporters that actually ask questions and report, you know? I mean, I'm not saying the Sun, but look at the Globe. I mean, the TV, it's terrible.
Kids won't buy the paper. Reading this text from the
Yeah.
audience, Vanna Howard would be a terrible city manager. She's a terrible representative, a true hack. Back to you guys.
speaking of the paper, and, John, I'm going to address this to you.
Okay.
Funerals have changed, how they handle funerals. People don't have wakes. People don't even, I don't read the Lowell Sun, so I never know people have died. I kind of rely on,
I don't know that it's always in there. I was trying to find somebody from town who I had seen her family had posted. She had passed away, and I couldn't
It's
find her.
expensive.
I mean, I do know it's very expensive to.
I don't sit with
post an
families like I
obituary.
used to. I'll go and say hello. My two kids do all that. They sit down and handle all the arrangements. But when you ask and they ask the family, okay, what newspaper do you get at the house? Well, we don't get a newspaper. So how do you want us to put this in the Lowell Sun or the Boston Globe? You want us to put this in the paper? Well, how much is that? It's $600. Nah. We'll just text everybody.
Right.
Well, we use Facebook. Facebook's been very good to put obituaries on.
The funeral home thing hits more places than, I mean, in Drake, the young lady now who took over, she brought Mark out, she got like 14, 17,000. You just sign up for like you too, you sign up for the emails, so you get them. You get them faster than a Lowell Sun.
yeah.
You don't even, yeah. You know, and yeah, it's just a lot better. And then you can just forward them to people, but more people read look at your website than,
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But the Facebook has been fabulous because it's mostly women who play on Facebook and they just fan through the page. I never comment to say, hey, did you see Uncle Tanous died? And you call her and say, Uncle
Right.
Tanous is dead.
right.
So that's, Facebook works pretty good, but so far as the wigs are concerned, they're still pretty popular. They just don't get publicized. And people have, there are a lot of families out there that have family troubles, and there's certain people they really don't want to see at the wake. So we're cognizant of that, and there's a very effective way to keep them out of the funeral home. So we work on that end, so.
When I was a kid, you buried my cousin Charlie Peveril
Uh-huh.
over here. I was 14. The wake was 2 to 4, 7 to 9 on Tuesday, 2 to 4, 7
Oh,
to
yeah.
9 on Wednesday, and then the funeral. That's how, remember, two
Well,
nights?
yes,
Yeah.
before 495 became popular, Jets
Yeah.
became popular. I mean, if we planned it, we could have we could probably have dinner in Paris. If we planned it, if we went to Boston right now, we could probably have dinner in Paris. too.
Right, yeah.
And
I-
so jet planes have changed.
Oh, yeah, sure, yeah,
Year
yeah.
before 495, before
Right.
jet planes.
Oh, yeah,
So you find out Uncle Tanous is dead and he's in Worcester.
right.
So when did he die? He died last week. Well, when's the wake? Well, the wake's going to be, it's already going on today. It's going to be going on tomorrow, and then there's the
Right.
funeral. So because families live all over the United States,
Right.
that's why the 3-day situation happened. And
Yeah.
once jets came into play,
And then
You
they're
could be
doing
someplace today.
celebrations of life. The Attorney General Bellotti he passed away a few weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, I
I wouldn't know, but Nina, his daughter, is a friend of mine. I work with in the treasury. She called me. But the funeral was going to be private. But this Sunday, they're doing a service of life, but that's done in Quincy. But they do these life,
Yeah.
it's really like a wake,
yeah,
but you just go in and see the family,
So,
but the
yeah,
body's
a
not
fa-
there.
yeah.
You know?
yeah. Celebration of life,
Celebration of life, yeah.
yeah. That's what people are really doing.
That's what they're doing, yeah. I went to one
the
Sunday.
surprise thing is when you have a wake and the person's in an urn.
That's
Ah,
what-
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
And
tough.
they walk in and they go, so like,
Yeah.
if it says calling hours, you can fully expect the casket will be there.
right,
Like your grandmother was.
Right.
Be just like that. The person will be laying there, looking like $1 million in the casket. if it says fancy word like visitations or the memorial service, that's a strong indicator that
Right,
there'll be no casket there.
right. And I remember even when one of the guys from around here, a good friend of mine who worked with us in the secretary's office, passed away, and we all, a bunch of us picked who could go, and Galvin came up. We went to the church in Chelmsford. We're all sitting down, everybody's waiting for the hearse to come, and they go, Alan's already here, that box up. That's the box, that's it up, and they go, oh, they didn't even notice it.
Yeah.
You know how big that church is on, going
Yeah.
into, you know what I'm talking?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I know,
you were expecting yeah.
I used to read about a lot of people that I didn't know passed away, neighbor to neighbor. What are we going to do now? Because neighbor to neighbor,
It's all done.
Right.
it's all done.
Yeah, right.
That's
Yeah.
where we got all our news. It's unfortunate. I know she wanted someone, she was willing to sell it or turn it over and help them to take
Right,
over,
right,
neighbor to
yeah.
neighbor. But
Huh.
you'd have to be a certain type of person to want
Wow.
to do that. A lot of work.
Yeah, a lot of work for
She really created that and
Right.
did a good job on that.
little
Comments
return.
from the audience. This first one, I get the Lowell Sun for one reason only,
I know what they're gonna say.
the
Yeah.
bottom of my bird cage.
Birdcage, there you go.
And, but again, you got to ask yourself, who's going to police the politicians?
It's just sad that we didn't have,
Well,
that
I don't
paper was
think
so
the
great.
Little
when we-
Sun,
yeah.
the Little Sun's not policing anybody.
Before funeral homes, people wake
Right.
in their own home, yes or no? Yes, they do, and we still get, I'd say, once every 3 years. Our last wake at home was
Right.
out in Dunstable.
Right.
Guy had a beautiful home out in Dunstable, his mother died, and
Right,
he wanted to have the wake in the house. Bam,
right.
that's where it was.
But to go back to what Hillary had just said, like you said, John, who's going to police these people? We just had a huge vote in the House of Representatives, and there's not one word of it in the Lowell Sun of how our congresswoman or the delegation voted, and, you know, it was the one about the Riley, whatchamacallit building.
Lincoln.
Oh, yes.
And Massachusetts all voted, exception of Stevie Lynch, he voted yes, the rest of them voted no.
What is this bill you're talking about?
This is the Riley,
I don't know
Lincoln.
I don't know who Bridley is.
Yeah.
Expand on what Bridley is.
It was the,
She was murdered
by
by an
illegal.
illegal.
by an illegal end, they wanted, the bill is to send them all back. And he, right away, the first
We're
was,
talking about the State House down in
no,
No.
federal
Federal.
government.
They took a
Federal,
vote
down in
yesterday.
Washington, okay.
They've passed the first bill, and they want to send all the illegals back immediately who were involved in sexual crimes, all this,
Well, 'cause
if they
he
know their
was-
records.
Because
Yeah.
he was convicted of other crimes.
Because he was,
before
yeah, and he was
murdered her.
convicted.
Well, they all are. What about that guy that set fire to the
And our
woman?
delegation all voted no, except for Steve Lynch voted yes. Even New Hampshire, the two Democrats in New Hampshire, the lady's first vote as a Democrat, the new one, she voted yes. Where's the Lowell Sun to come out on that story? That's a big story.
Well, Social
It is a big
Security,
story.
everybody's like, this new Social Security bill they just passed,
This is pretty big too, though,
You're
John.
smiling about that. Tony Archinsky was here yesterday, and Tony's
Anthony, yeah.
he's a pretty good study. So I said, Tony, what does this mean for the average person who worked for the government? He says, it's the simplest way he could explain it is, if you're retired from the government, and right now you're getting a Social Security check for $400, your check will now be $1,000. That's
But-
the simple math. It's,
Yeah.
you were getting 40%, now you're gonna get 100%. So if you were getting $300, that's 40% of what your check will be until you die.
But they're supposed to take it off on the other end.
Now, the best thing is, the federal government's gonna pay you 12 months retro. So if your check gets bumped to $1,000,
Right.
just say, for the sake of our conversation, or it gets bumped to $800, you're gonna get a check for 12 times $800.
Right.
So it's a really nice, and the good news is, my wife says we're going on another cruise, so.
But from what I understand, John, they take it off of your state, your other retirement. It balances off that way. If you get from one, it comes off of the other. So it's not an up.
Oh, so if you, like the school teachers, for example, who don't
Right.
have really
Right,
get
I don't have
Security.
Social Security.
Yeah.
I paid into Social Security. Even when I worked for Atkins, the 3 years I paid Social Security, I can't collect it. I didn't have enough quarters. I worked for Mark
Okay.
So you didn't have
Demulis's.
enough quarters, but if you have enough
Demulis's-
quarters,
Right.
my wife had enough quarters.
Right, but what I'm saying is, if you're gonna get that 400, they're gonna take it off of the pension on the other end, on the state pension. That's how it
Oh,
works.
Oh, so,
I don't
I
think
don't
so.
Yeah.
think so. I think
Yeah,
this new
yeah.
bill,
Yeah, that's what I was
created
told.
parity.
Unless they amended the
Tony
bill.
was here yesterday, and Tony didn't.
Yeah.
yeah, I
Tony
don't,
Archinsky didn't present it
I
that
think
way.
that was a
Yeah.
proposal. But again, you were gonna take off, you might as well have just given them their full pension and left Social Security alone. I think this,
Is that
again,
right, Hillary? Yeah.
equals it out.
Is
Yeah,
that right? I
I
wanted
spent
to-
like 13 years on this issue, and it has to be earned. You have to have earned your Social Security
Right.
benefit through private sector work. So,
Okay.
a lot of people, so some people that spent their whole career in public service
Right.
and never paid into Social Security aren't going to now get a benefit they
Right.
didn't earn. It's if you earned your Social
Yeah.
Security, you're going
Right.
to now get.
Yeah.
Now that you can get it.
Yeah.
Which,
Oh.
which is only fair, right?
I
People
think
can
that's
collect
fair.
Social
Well,
Security
that's the problem,
and a
because-
401K.
Right.
What's the difference?
Well, we have too many people that never paid into it. That's
Right.
that's
So
the
if
issue.
you didn't
We're
pay
not
into it,
talking
you're
about
not-
the federal or state employees.
You're not getting it if you didn't pay into it. You
Right.
have to have earned.
Well, even if you paid into it, you still might not get it,
Yes.
like I did. But
Right, right.
but the thing is, there's a lot of people that are on programs that never paid into
They
it.
never,
Yeah.
when they came up with SSI, they never should have put it into the Social Security.
Right.
For disabilities. It isn't that it shouldn't have been established. It-
That is
they-
correct.
You can't have a program that is, there's a whole group of people that never pay into it and expect that
Right.
program to be
Just- yeah.
solvent.
Or
It can't
borrow it to-
possibly work.
Or borrow from it to fight Vietnam.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Interesting point, yep.
anyways.
It's, yeah, it was, they got that through, I mean, they've been fighting for that for a long, long time, so
Yeah.
it's amazing. And
well,
the
wasn't
argument
it
was always
only-
to go back to Social Security. Well, a state in Massachusetts, when your pension is, you're putting in for your pension and stuff, we didn't want Social Security back for public workers.
Right.
Because then they would have been paying like 40% of their paycheck out in taxes and,
Right, isn't it only 2 states it affects, though, us and one other state?
no, there were 14.
It's 14, okay.
were
I know
14 states,
Well,
yeah.
okay, so it wasn't a disparity there, yeah.
Yeah, there were
That's what it was.
14 that were fully affected. I think there was like 16 that had partial. So like Connecticut was one of those states that, depending on what county you lived in and worked for, it was different. That's why I think it took so long to get it done. It didn't affect every state.
Last text of the
right.
day, great show today. What type of donut was on the menu? We didn't get any donuts
No
today.
donuts.
Thanks for
Sorry.
thinking of that.
Beginning of the year when we're all being good.
Tomorrow, City Life, Evelyn Thorin's going to be the host. Bobby Hoey will be here, Sam Chase, and Vivian Merrill's coming. And it's a national day of mourning for Jimmy Carter.
Oh, God
So
bless
time
them.
is short,
Yep.
kids.
Well,
got
thank
2
you for
minutes
coming in.
tops.
Thank you for getting
Yeah, it
up.
was fun.
Thank you, Hillary. It's good to have you back. I haven't
Thank
seen
you.
you.
Yeah.
We'll get you right back on the schedule.
I'm eager to go home and watch the replay of Greg's inaugural Inside Lowell.
We were just making it up as we went, we were just talking about different stuff.
It was a
right?
great, the
Yeah.
conversation I did watch was great, and they made multiple references to your visit, so now I've got to go
Oh.
back and watch it.
Oh, yeah, well, I think the best part was, I just told the story about a Grover Cleveland, switching, Mrs. Cleveland told Mrs. Harrison, don't, the split term, don't take down the curtains, we'll be back in 4 years, and they were. Because that's the only other president other than Trump to do this, yeah.
yeah.
But that's, like I said, stuff that I know that I don't need to know anymore.
Well, I know.
Useless information.
Yes, we have a lot of useless
Yeah.
information,
Oh, God,
don't we?
I do. It's
So
horrible.
everybody stay warm out there.
Yeah.
Not as cold as it was the last couple of days, but it's chilly.
Oh, yeah.
We
wanna-
drive the
yeah.
kids down to the bus stop,
Yep.
and not like when I was a kid when I had to walk to school.
Hats and gloves. I think there was.
Uphill both ways,
Yeah.
in the
They
snow.
We saw a picture of somebody, the kid's walking with just a sweatshirt on, and the dad's behind him with the jacket.
Yeah.
Make your kid put the jacket on.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I don't recall getting a choice from my mother.
No, we didn't, because they didn't want to be around you when you had to deal with you when you were sick.
Exactly.
If you get sick, you're on your own.
Oh, I know.
If you're not going to wear your jacket and stuff, yeah.
And different times,
Yep.
so
Yep. There you
come a
go.
long way.
Yeah. So,
I had to laugh. My granddaughter was talking about consequences. I wanted to say to her, you ought to talk to politicians then about consequences. I was saying that she had to do something. She said, I know, there'll be consequences. I said,
there you go. Right.
That was my mother's line. Choose
Yeah.
to obey or choose to be punished.
Yeah.
There you go.
There will be
Hey, want to
consequences.
thank your kids for all getting up extra early today. Have a good
Yes,
day.
thank you.
Thanks
Have a
for
good day.
watching.
See you,
See you
John.
next week.
Tomorrow, as you can see, it's windy outside, and it's in the teens, so drive little Greg to school. Thanks.
You hold it.
Say, well, you ought to talk to politicians then about consequences. I was saying that she had to do something. She said, I know, there'll be consequences.
There you go.
That was my mother's line. Choose to obey or choose to be punished.
Yeah,
There you go.
there will be consequences.